Hello, faithful listeners. Once again, the 80's kids. Now, Going Commando with the 80's kids. Yes, we went there. And we think it's particularly hilarious for the double entendre because anybody from the 80's knows we're not talking about going underwearless. We're talking about the Alyssa Milano Arnold Schwarzenegger classic.
Yeah, buddy.
And it was the first Taken, if you think about it. Taken is nothing but a rehash of Commando from back in the day.
That's right. He did have a particular set of skills.
He had a particular set of skills, and you took his daughter, so he came after you.
I just watched it 2 nights ago.
Yeah, it is a fantastic action flick from back in the 80's. Once again, we always appreciate you listening to us, tuning in, and watching. Those of you who have been liking and sharing on Facebook, we always appreciate you. The only thing we would ask is please follow us so that we can continue to bring you the materials that we're able to. Today's episode, 80's Action Hero Playoff. We're talking the round robin to see who is going to win amongst the 80's action heroes. And believe me, there's a wide variety in here. I tend to like to come into things blind. Ben is obviously our tech guy and our planner. I just like to talk out of my ass. So, and when I saw it, I was very impressed with Ben's work. So we're going to go through a lot of different movies, action movies from the 80's. We're going to take those main characters, and we're going to see, I wonder who would win in a fight between those two.
Pretty much.
And then we're going to get to who reigns supreme of the 80's action heroes. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the next hour to whatever, because we do tend to randomly go on.
And this is a pretty good one to ramble on.
And this one's a good one to ramble on. So, as always, Ben Davis, bring us in.
Yeah, I came up with this idea and basically the rest of summer fall season on vacation.
It's I got the list, and I promise you, listeners, there's some very interesting. Ben has come up with some interesting, very cool material that we both believe you would just really enjoy listening to.
Yeah, we both just went to Disney, and just about a week apart.
We did, literally, almost like a week apart. We just got back from Disney. I just got back yesterday, 11 and a half hours on I-95, dude.
Gotta love traffic.
Oh, I hate people. And so
those flying cars I just sent you. We need some of those.
Oh, no, yeah. Ben Davis sent me the thing for the flying car, and I'm like, man, I could have been home in like 5 hours.
I know.
Yeah, so here's a public service announcement from Carthy. And the ideas expressed therein from Carthy do not reflect ideas of Carousel Castles and or Going Commando with the 80's kids. That's my little like thing, so that y'all can't associate me with it.
Good.
I'm going to tell you 100% right now. Hey, fuckers, and I don't cuss a lot in this podcast, but I'm telling you right now, hey, fuckers, get out of the left lane. I'm sorry, you're not the gatekeeper of I-95.
Oh, my God.
You're not a policeman. You're not a mayor. You did not build those highways. Your tax dollars did not build those highways. They've been around since before you were born. So the idea that you can sit in the left lane and go the speed limit with 25 cars behind you, and you go on the internet and says, well, it says slower traffic, keep right, and I'm doing the speed limit. Fuck you.
Lord.
I mean, seriously, with a rusty chainsaw. And please realize that going slower means going slower than the average speed of traffic. And the world would be a lot better place if we just thought about other people. So when you have 25 cars behind you, you are thinking only of yourself. So that is my little public service announcement. Again, do not blame the other two entities.
Yeah, that was very John McClane of you.
I'm sorry, but like I said, like 9.5, 10 hours down,
Yeah.
with an hour stop
good stops
for lunch and a half an hour stop to pee, grab snacks and everything. So we would have been there in 8.5 hours on the way down.
That's a good time.
But I know it's 4th of July weekend. There's going to be so many people. I saw so many horrendous wrecks.
And that's what slows it down. People just have to slow down and look. That's what bothers me.
Okay, onlooker delay, you're a fucker.
That's what I hate.
However, I will give you one example where I actually agreed with it, because I saw something straight out of what's the movie where they can't escape their fate?
Final Destination.
Final Destination. Literally, a truck, big like F3000 or whatever, with a trailer truck of guess what in the back of it?
Logs.
10-foot hollow metal tubes.
That's even worse.
And somebody's car went under the trailer.
Oh.
And by the time I got to it, the windshield was gone, and so were all of the passengers. Yeah. So that one, I'm going to give you a little bit of excuse, because you're like, holy crap, somebody died, and I feel bad. Yeah. However, when someone's on the side of the road fixing their tire, move the hell on. Yeah. Like, that's not something you need to check out. They don't need your help. Just move. And by the way, get out of the left lane. Yeah. You are not the gatekeeper. You do not control traffic. Just let human beings be human beings. If someone wants to go 20 over and get caught by the cops, allow them to it. Put your cruise control on, get out of the way, and let everybody have a nice ride. And that's all I'll say about that after having been in the car for 11 and a half hours yesterday. So it's still fresh in my mind. The wound, it's like salt in it, Ben. There's salt in it.
Really bad, man.
Sorry, I did not mean to go off on that habit. So let's get back to
the criteria for the one of the criteria I have we're going to judge against these people is amount of kills throughout their series of films.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Basically, what their film was, who they had to battle.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
General badassery.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because some people have to face more adversity, let's say, in the movies.
Intelligence quotient.
Ooh, that's another good one. Yes. I like that.
Because some of these people don't have a huge body count, but they are smarter than the others.
Agreed. Yeah. The way they maneuver is they don't have to kill as many people to accomplish their mission. So
exactly.
So I can 100% get behind that.
And when I kind of come up with this, I had to whittle this down to 16 in one bracket of 8.
I know.
For the A
and some of the
one
ones,
for the B.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, Ben. But some of the ones I even mentioned didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Because we had to go with the best one, like Jack Cates, 48 hours. Yeah. He didn't make the cut, but guess what? Because we've got 16 better ones, and that's just the way it is.
I can't remember who else. There were a couple of other Chuck Norrises I cut off.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a Steven Seagal character on her because everybody's like, whoa, he's one of the action heroes.
Wasn't he mostly 90s?
He was 90s.
See, that's the thing, though. Yeah.
You think about, who all was in the Expendable movies? You're like, all those guys have to be on one of these lists.
Oh, God, yeah. But what about Jean-Claude?
He was 90s, man.
Okay, there you go.
But actually, he did make the list because his
Bloodsport?
Yes.
I was going to say, I think Bloodsport was 88, 89?
It was right there.
Ha-ha, the brain doesn't disappoint sometimes.
That's what made him a star.
That was one of them. They recently took a picture of him, like within the last year, of him and the other guy. The big one that was in the finals with him.
Yeah.
He has lost so much weight.
Something.
Yes, that's a great memory.
Bolo Yang or
I don't remember that is a great memory, but yes, Jean-Claude looks identical as he did like 30 years ago. I guess those are Belgian genes or whatever he's got going on. But yes, the other guy, it's almost like seeing Tony Atlas and the guy that he used to compete against.
Well, Bolo had been in movies, action movies, kung fu movies back with Chuck Norris.
Oh God, yeah, no, he'd been around
with Bruce Lee before even.
I don't remember, but I want to say yes.
So for him to have thinned out big time as an old man is not surprising.
He looked still like he was. He went from being huge and muscular to still looking like he's in his 40s and 50s, and he's probably 70 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude looks great. He just didn't look like the Jack dude from the movie. You know what I'm saying? So no big deal there. But
he would definitely make. When we do it, the villains.
If we do the villains, hell yeah. We're going to have to do a villain one.
Badass.
Oh, we got so many villains to pick from in the 80s. God bless.
How do any of them defeat Darth Vader?
Well, I think we have to, at some point, have to exclude force powers. Or, I mean, we can't have one of the Highlanders.
That's true.
I'm sorry. If you
but these are all like sci-fi action.
I know,
kind of action-y.
But you know, I am immortal.
But
the only way you can kill a Highlander, you can stab him with a lightsaber all day long. He's not dying unless you hit him.
I didn't put James T. Kirk on here, mainly because I didn't put sci-fi in here. But he's basically kind of an action hero.
No, I agree. Which do you remember offhand? And because I don't, do you remember which Star Trek movies were actually in the 80s?
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Wow, I did not know there were that many.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, he would be like an action hero, but I think he... Okay, so this is where I'll draw the distinction. Every name that
countless Klingons were murdered by him.
Oh, I mean, remember...
Damn,
their
Russians
home planet,
Klingons.
Their home planet exploded, so... but we whooped their ass in the war. That's all that matters. But I would say the difference between that and the list that you made is these are all pivotal action heroes who kind of did it themselves.
Yeah.
Versus relied on a crew or a team. That's just kind of the way I'm going to look at it.
That's really good. So maybe that's what I was thinking when I did it. Just
I think so.
Subliminally.
Because these are the main heroes. Like, every one of these guys, yeah, they had a secondary, pretty much all of them, not all of them, but pretty much all of them had a secondary character with them, right?
Yeah, that was kind of the thing back then.
However,
you had the A hero, but then you had like
the comic
B,
relief or the guy that did something like he was
set him up for the one-liner.
It's almost like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I've got my barbarian, but I gotta have my thief so I can pick locks, right? Yeah. So I think that's the way that you went with it. I think the list is brilliant. So I'm gonna allow you to decide which part of the bracket we go into first.
Well, as I told you in a text, just like when you are watching the NCAA or the NBA playoffs, to me, it always seems like 4 and 5 and 3 and 6 seem to be almost the most interesting ones, and I did not plan it out this way.
I'm
looking at it, I'm like, wow, this looks cool.
I have a dissenting opinion, and I think there's going to be a low seed that makes it through.
Okay,
that's all I'm going to say. Pre.
Let's just start off at the top. We'll just work our way down.
That's fine. That's fine.
So let's start off. Let's show the board to the YouTube people.
Yeah. So the YouTube people.
So I have a board. It's the A bracket here.
We got the A brackets and a B bracket.
Yeah, I'll have to write that out after I only got the one board.
It's all right. No big deal.
So A side here. It starts off Dutch from Predator.
Yeah.
I don't know his full name, and he was Colonel.
I think was he?
I thought he was Colonel Dutch. He's always a colonel in all these movies. He was a colonel in Commando.
Yes, he is. You know what? Let's look it up because again, we're no longer going to
because that will add to his intelligence factor because they don't just make dummies colonels generally.
All right, here we go. Let me look it up real fast. All right, here we go. Xenopedia. Ooh. Alan Dutch Schaefer.
Yeah.
He was United States Army. Private military team. Let's see. Dutch Onyx. Military mercenary. CIA for a rescue mission in Guatemala. I don't see anything about his rank. So by no means am I discounting what you said. Yeah. But at least according to the Xenopedia, he is just a mercenary.
Maybe they redacted his rank.
Well, maybe he did. Maybe he made it there, and then again, now like the Expendables.
Yeah.
They all had ranks in the military, but now they're a mercenary group to make millions of dollars.
Very true.
I mean, that could have been it. It just doesn't say. I mean, 6'1", light brown, blue eye, light brown hair, blue eyes.
Austrian. I mean, what?
I don't know what you're talking about. Hired by it just says private military team hired by the CIA.
And we got him up against Snake Plissken.
Oh, dude, Escape, right?
Escape from
L.A. or New York.
We have to bring in their entire cachet of stuff. So he was Escape from New York and then L.A.
Were those both in the 80s?
No, the other one's actually from '96 era.
So let's exclude this just for time being.
Well, the thing is, to talk about their total amount of kills, we have to bring in all their movies.
I know. Okay, no, you know what? You're 100% right.
Which
so let's go ahead and do that.
Really isn't that high for these guys because.
Well, remember, back in the 80s, like which we love, especially Arnold, catchphrases while killing were way more important than total body count. Because honestly, how many people did he kill with a grenade? And when you just see people getting,
He usually killed about 35, 40 people.
I mean, at least. All you see is bodies flying off a trampoline.
They did a good job jumping,
And just, grenades usually shred you to pieces. You don't really fly anywhere.
But when I was looking this up, I didn't bother looking up the Dutch's kill count. I just put down one predator.
That, you know what? Because Americans love to measure things in weird increments. Like we talked about on another podcast. Everybody asks me what size T-shirt to get me, and I say medium Wookie. It's an arbitrary thing.
Yep.
So one predator might equal like 100 soldiers.
Yeah, I mean, because the amount of people who have actually killed a predator, I think, is pretty slim.
Well, okay, so just off subject, we know he didn't technically kill the first one, he destroyed it.
Oh.
Danny, he sacrificed himself. Danny Glover actually killed that one.
He did.
And so that's why he was given the gun from the reboot that they just did with all the Indians, which was just unbelievably cool. If y'all haven't watched that, I would recommend going back. Actually,
I still haven't watched that.
Oh my gosh, it is so good, and I would actually recommend watching it in Cherokee, because all the actors were not allowed to audition in English. They had to audition in English and Cherokee, both languages, because they knew they were going to have to act in both languages with the subtitles. But there is a version out there where there are, it's nothing but subtitles.
I know, I saw you.
There is no English, and it is a fantastic version of the film.
Okay.
And so that one, she killed him. She led him into a trap. I'm not going to spoil anything, but she kills him. So, technically Dutch didn't kill the predator. The Dutch wounded him bad enough, and then that little bastard decided to laugh his butt off and set off a small nuclear ordinance.
So what's better, killing a predator or beating it so badly it just gives up and kills itself?
Well, okay, here's the difference. So Snake, if we're going to go into this, Snake killed a lot of regular dudes.
Yeah, I have this kill count at 8.
But he killed a lot of regular dudes.
He did. He killed
that predator took out a whole band of CIA operatives. Skinned them, hung them from the, rainforest ceiling. Then came in and then took out a mercenary group, which were all former, as far as we know, former, let's say, special forces guys, right?
Yeah.
And then he wiped all of them out except for one person. So this is just my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I believe the Predator is way more deadly than what Snake did. However, that doesn't mean that Escape from New York was any less suspenseful, because we're talking about a post-apocalyptic New York. There's dangers around every corner. He had to be a badass in certain times to kill people.
And he had one eye.
And he had one eye, dude. It's sort of like what's the movie with Denzel Washington? Book of Elijah.
Yes.
That twist ending at the end, he's been blind the whole damn time? That makes him one of the most badass dudes of the 90s. I'm sorry. He was blind the entire time. And then he had the entire Bible memorized. So not only is he one of the most intelligent characters we've been able to see, he's also one of the most badass.
Yeah.
Now, we're not talking about that genre right now, but, you got to take that kind of stuff into consideration.
That's true. That's very true.
Snake was a badass, obviously. I mean, they wouldn't have sent him in there to rescue. Wasn't it rescue the president's daughter or something like that?
Seems like that was the second one. I can't
Was it the second one?
That was what he did. He had to go rescue the president or the vice president or the daughter.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. That was number 2. But I cannot, for the life of me, 100% remember.
Was it one of those things where he got dropped in and he made it out?
He got dropped in on both of them. I remember in the second one, he's surfing this wave with Kelly Slater. I remember that's in part 2.
Yeah.
It was like, he's playing basketball in the second one, so we know he's got a good jumper.
God bless.
He's got that over Dutch.
We got another consideration.
Yeah,
Who's got the Swedish J?
Yeah, Dutch. His biceps are too big. He can't. Have you ever seen Hulk try to do a jumper?
Yeah, if we're comparing biceps, there's no comparison because Arnold he's the youngest Mr. Universe ever.
Have you watched that doc?
Oh, it's unbelievably fantastic. It's again, yeah. So listeners,
hell, it made me willing to run for president. Shit.
Yeah, no, seriously, the guy really does have a level head about him for being such a movie star. Yeah. And doing all these other things, he's surprisingly level-headed.
Made me feel shitty at one point.
Oh, like he talks about getting pumped and getting and like.
Well, when he started getting a little bit of money in America, how he just started buying shit and being rich before he ever became a movie star.
Oh God! Yeah.
And I was thinking,
Hercules in New York. People don't even remember that movie.
I'm like, shit. Whenever I got a little bit of money, what did I do with it? Put it in the fucking bank and nothing happened.
Yes, however, you, didn't win literally a world competition, so.
I haven't told you everything. Look, there's an award I won right there.
That is very true. Maybe
you didn't know I didn't tell you about my prize money.
The YouTube people can't see it. I don't know, but yes, he won respiratory therapist, preceptor of the year.
That's
so, that we forgot that's like a grant. That's a MacArthur grant. It's at least $500,000.
It was.
And I don't know.
Wilkes County. It was.
I don't know what you did with it. All I know is you drive electric cars and go to Disney a lot. So that's all I know. We think about it. You drive electric cars and go to Disney. So yeah, that's the hidden part. Okay, so now it's not even Going Commando. It's Going Secrets with the 80's kids.
Right.
So, but yeah, back to the thing. Snake is badass. He does badass things.
Yeah.
He's under the firefights. He's having to make his way through more of an urban scenario.
There you go. Yeah.
Where Dutch obviously is in the rainforest of Colombia.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and usually we don't speak very quickly on certain ones. We kind of flesh them out. However, just from my perspective, I don't see how Snake can possibly beat Dutch.
Yeah, I think just fighting the Predator alone gets you there,
yeah.
And living to tell about it.
I mean, like an 8-foot alien creature that if he backhands you, you fly 10 to 12 feet.
Yeah. I
don't think Snake can backhand you and you fly 10 to 12 feet. I think Snake, the best he can do is you can have shots with Goldie Hawn, and that's about it. Now, Snake, not to take away from Snake.
No.
Now, if you haven't seen these Escape From movies, listeners, you need to go back and see Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Is that a Wes Craven film?
I know the first one was.
Yeah.
I don't know about the second one. But yes, I would 100% say go back and watch. They're fantastic 80s style films. Again, 80s films love to be about dystopias, like Terminator, all these other type of things. Like what happens after the bombs drop or the robots take over. So the premise of the movie being that New York has become a war zone.
A lot of them right about now.
Yeah, no shit. And so again, just based off of what I've seen, because I have watched both movies several times. However, Predator is the only one when, I'm old. When I was 12 years old, and I went to the theater to see it with my dad, it was so badass, and I loved every second of it. But the moment I got home, because my dad was building a new house, and we lived out in a rental house in the country. I stared out the window with several blankets and thought my eyes could just barely peek through, and just kept watching for some kind of thing walking through the woods, or two eyes, or what am I going to do if those 3 little red dots pop up on my head? That one affected me differently.
Yeah, that was a scary one.
So I'm going to say that based off of personal experience, just being honest, personal experience and the effect on me. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little Schwarzenegger biased. I love Kurt Russell, and we're gonna discuss another character of his.
Yeah.
So I love him. Because we just talked about it off mic. He's in way more movies than we thought he was.
Yeah, he was.
And so I'm gonna go Dutch on this one. I have to. I don't have a choice on that one. He beat a Predator. Well, he didn't beat. Well, yes, he beat a Predator.
I actually think his other character has a better chance of advancing.
Well, we'll get to that when we get there. So, but
right.
we're gonna go Dutch in the first round.
All right. Well, this next one, number 4 versus number 5.
Yeah.
John McClane from Die Hard, 1 through 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And Frank Dukes, I think it is.
Yeah.
From Bloodsport. That's Jean-Claude.
Oh, now that one is tough.
Let's go ahead and Frank Dukes. I don't think he actually had any deaths in that film. So
No.
I looked up, and his record, as he stated it, I believe, was 321 wins, 1 loss, and excuse me, I'm so sorry, and 7 draws. And the Kumite win that we saw in the film versus McClane's 73 kills overall, and he is a police lieutenant.
So this is where I'm going to go with this one. I think it depends on the scenario. All right, you get in a one-on-one fight, have to give it to Jean-Claude.
Oh, God, yes.
If you give him any type of obstacles, McClane was shown to be very inventive.
Oh, gosh, yeah. He was
thinking on his feet. He was a tough guy. He was bleeding profusely.
He was the first one of those heroes to come out that was just an everyday guy.
He was he was a detective, beat cop.
He looked like almost like us, just like he's not had as many beers or cheeseburgers as we had, but he looks like us.
I mean, he's sitting in his hotel room with pants and a wife beater on. Yeah, that's me. Like scrunching his toes.
The only difference is between beer, he doesn't drink as much beer. He just drinks a lot more whiskey.
Agreed. So here's the deal. What are we going to go off of? Like physical, one-on-one? Because no one's going to beat Jean-Claude. But if you give Jean-Claude a gun and give McClane a gun, there's also no possible way.
We've seen Jean-Claude in a couple of films with like a little submachine gun. It is laughable.
Like what was it? Soldiers?
Yeah. The Universal Soldier.
Universal Soldier.
I think he in
with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, there was another one I think he had. It was a Double Impact. I think they threw one at him.
The one where they traveled Time Cop.
Time Cop, yes.
I told you my brain comes up with stuff. He had to have a gun in that one as well. So, I don't know. Completed work. Okay, so I'm just going to be honest. I'm leaning towards McClane. Now, again, because Jean-Claude could just beat the piss out of him, right? But I feel like McClane will find something in the environment to give him an advantage.
So let's put it this way. If we throw John McClane and Frank Dukes in a back alley, and we say
Dukes all day long.
But it's not an empty back alley.
Oh, okay. So like bottles and trash cans, almost like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back alley.
Exactly. And it's New York back alley in 1987. So you know what
McClane.
It's there. Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say.
I have to go that way because
We've
again,
seen him beat some people that he shouldn't have beat.
He almost MacGyvered them. Like he beat who's the tall Swedish guy?
Yeah, that guy from the first one.
Yes. I mean, like he should not have beat that guy. Like that guy beat the piss out of him.
And then in the third one, there was another tall guy.
Right.
That was just whipping his ass.
But
he found that thing.
He finds a way to win. Where I don't feel like Jean-Claude found a way to win. He just used his anger and his like almost like a Karate Kid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to use a style and I'm going to win. But as far as the characters being fleshed out, so we're really going like Bloodsport, right?
Yeah.
And we're going off of 5, right?
Yeah.
Die Hard movies, that dude's been through a lot. And he seems to still be able to come out on top. And he seems to somehow be able to use his environment to his advantage.
I think if it came down to this, I think Frank's whipping his ass real good. John's down, and all of a sudden he sees something
like a piece of glass or something.
And he cuts his Achilles, and that's it.
Yeah, Jean-Claude's not doing any splits between boats when he doesn't have an Achilles. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
I think he'll fight dirty and he'll win.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it, dude. He is going to fight dirty, and he's going to win because he's going to. The other guy has that weird honor thing going on.
He was a soldier too. That's right. That's right. He was some sort of American.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go with McClane if I'm. I mean, sorry, man, he got blown up, shot at,
Yeah.
stepped on glass, had a guy shooting him through the tables, and while he's backing up and still counted the bullets and yada yada yada. Beat the Swedish dude by wrapping the chain around his neck. He was getting his ass whooped.
Yep. And he also solved all those riddles in number 3.
Yes,
which,
he did.
He's not an idiot.
With Samuel L.
That's right. Zeus was his name.
Oh my God, great memory. Yes, it was. He ran the little bodega. Bodega, excuse me.
Pawn shop.
Pawn shop, yeah, downtown.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, because he saved
like
him.
Harlem. It was Harlem, I believe it was.
It was, because
yeah.
remember he had the I hate N-words?
Yeah.
Like the guy, the mastermind made him put that in, and he knew he was going to get killed. Yeah. And so Samuel L. saw him, he's like, this white dude's going to get killed. And he went out there and started talking to him. He can't tell him what's going on or he'll be immediately killed and or the bomb goes off, right?
Yeah. That was
so
great.
Again, it's just, so McClane just has this intelligence and this, the detectiveness, whatever you want to call that. I think McClane, yeah, I'm sorry. I just feel like he's like a MacGyver. You know what I'm saying?
I've never actually met a good detective in my life, but I think if you were to meet one, you'd be like, wow, that guy's got something.
I don't know, because I've never met a detective that wasn't as stiff and as boring as they come. And you want to know why only 10% to 15% of all homicides are actually solved in the United States? The same reason why Asia's kicking our ass in the cyber wars. Because they don't take a certain type. They look for the smartest. Yeah. Like North Korea has admitted, if you're a drug addict, but you can hack into the U.S. defense system, they'll feed you drugs. As long as you can still hack. They don't care. They worry about your ability, not about your drawbacks. Yeah. But oh my God, you smoke a joint, you can't be in the U.S. military. You could have been the best hacker in the entire world. Yeah. But you smoke weed, so we can't take you. You see what I'm saying?
Like, I know exactly what you're saying.
So I have
There's a reason we're falling behind in things.
Well, we're Neil Tyson DeGrasse coming back to our area, and when I saw him a couple of years ago in Greensboro, I mean, he has these pie charts about where the world is in terms of science and mathematics, and you go back 50, 60 years, and the United States is this gigantic glob. Yeah. And you fast forward 50 years, and now India, South Korea, and other places are larger than we are because we're falling behind. Because we're so rigid in who we allow to do things that we don't say we need the best people to do things.
We haven't changed. That's how we did it back then when we were that giant glob.
Oh, man, yeah. So, we need inventive, smart people that know how to, think on their feet. So when it comes down to these two guys, sorry, I'm going to give it to the guy that can think more quickly on his feet. Yeah.
Fighting dirty.
Fighting dirty.
It's a bad rap. Better to win you a fight.
You know, I hate to say it, Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
So I'm going straight McClane. I can't not do that.
Well, what time we got? We're good.
Oh yeah, we're doing good on time today.
All right, so this next one is very interesting.
I know this was the one I'm gonna have the most fun talking about, like in the first grouping.
We have Ripley from Aliens.
Oh yeah, Aliens or Alien?
Well,
or Alien? Was that 78, 79?
That one was that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go Aliens, because technically Aliens, some people think it's a better film than the original. So.
It was, in my opinion, but the first one was really good too.
It was really good, but Aliens, gotta give credit to the guy.
Cameron.
Game over, man.
Oh, man.
Bill Paxton. Yeah. He makes a lot of that film. That Latino girl, that's so badass. She makes a lot of that film with the big gun. Mm-hmm. Oh, there were just, and then Lance. With the robot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's just certain parts of this second one that are just so unbelievably cool. That is just, and also the most horrific, again, as a smaller child or preteen, whatever, when the movie came out, that little handheld that showed you all the dots coming at you.
Yes.
That made your butthole pucker. You know what I'm saying? Like when they all started coming, like that's just that is a badass film. And in it, Ripley, with the machine at the end, fighting a 30-foot alien queen.
Yep.
She's badass. She's not a little badass.
No,
she's super bad. She survived things that Space Marines didn't survive. And actually,
get away from her, you bitch!
I mean, seriously, wasn't John Connor's dad in that one?
He was.
He didn't make it, but Ripley did. I'm just saying. So, what's our other option on
Mad Max?
Mad Max. So, are we talking original Mad Max, or are we talking about Beyond Thunderdome?
He only managed to kill, from what I gathered, I actually couldn't find his kill stats.
So, in the first one, it's weird. That is a really old film. Most people haven't even actually seen the original Mad Max.
I actually watched it a while back, and I really liked it.
Most everybody has seen Beyond Thunderdome.
You know, I love that song. Ghost just redid Tina Turner's song right before she died.
Oh, Lord.
And it was great.
That was a great song. So it's going to be a hard pull for me. Because Max survived.
One too.
Oh, yeah, there absolutely was.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere near as good.
It really wasn't. It was more about the water and the whole thing. With the guy in the flying aeroplane with the weird long face. Guy walks into a bar. Why is this a long face? I'm the guy from Mad Max. But yeah. So that was going to be a little different for me because Max is in a post-apocalyptic world, has to carry weapons all the time, has to literally drive around in a twisted metal vehicle, like with guns and stuff.
He started off as a cop.
And yes, in the first one, and constantly outrun bad guys.
It's all about gas.
All about gas and water. So that one's going to be a little bit more difficult for me because both of them have moments where they're literally at their least.
Yeah, because you've got to determine what's worse to fight.
Literally hundreds of evil
alien
humans.
Things, or humans who have been resorted to the most cannibalistic, worst form of human you could think, which is almost like an alien.
Almost feral, right?
Exactly.
Almost like wild.
Almost like the hills have eyes type humans.
Yes, like I said, feral. No.
These people have no drawbacks when it comes to
killing,
another
eating
human.
you, or anything.
Like picking out your eyeball and eating it, like that little creature did on Return of the Jedi.
Yes, no problem whatsoever.
Ooh, that might have some water in it.
Yes, seriously. Also, if you get a chance, watch the newest one, but watch the black and chrome one. It's so much better.
Fury Road.
No sound, just pictures, and it will blow your mind. So I'm going to be honest, I'm stuck here because
now that if we put it that way, I am too.
I mean, I'm just going to be honest, I'm stuck because Ripley, she not only protected herself, but she also protected the kid as well.
He had no one to protect that dog, but the dog died anyway.
Okay, so we're just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Now, in other movies, he had to protect the clan or whatever that took him in, even though he said, I'm just taking this amount of water and peacing out. They somehow convinced him to drive that bus.
Well, let's see. It was the big bad he fought in Thunderdome. It was that, what was it
Master
called?
Blaster.
Master Blaster.
Oh, Lord. Yes.
Master Blaster.
Yes. He almost looked like the guy from G.I. Joe with the big metal mask. The one that was super strong.
Destro?
No, the one that came after him.
Oh.
After Serpentor came in.
Oh.
There was the guy that was super muscular and had the silver mask.
Damn, I can't remember his name.
I cannot even pull it out of my butt right now either. But I always thought, that's just a ripoff of Mad Max. Never remember him using too many guns. Never remember Ripley using too many guns. She used them because the Marines dropped them. Mm-hmm. But, okay, so let's go with climatic ending.
Okay.
Right? Now, he is running away from a bunch of folks, but he has help. Because there's other people shooting these guys.
There's other people fighting his same fight.
Right, launching the bombs to get the cars to be gone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ripley basically watched a bunch of people die and hopped into what was supposed to be a cargo transporter and took on, again, a 30-foot alien xenomorph queen.
Yeah.
Whose blood is sulfuric acid.
Yeah, that was always really bad too.
I mean, like you break their arm and they leak on you, you die.
Yeah.
Like you're done.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and just the strength, especially when like it pinned her and that face was there.
And
The
it's got the
mouth. The mouth is trying to reach her, but just can't.
And it's just snapping.
I'm sorry. Okay, so this is just me. Okay, and we might have dissenting opinions, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, you put an Australian weird guy yelling at me in a post-apocalyptic world, versus me being in a metal cage, almost like a shark cage, with a xenomorph that's 30 feet tall, and it's, basically armor-piercing tongue is 3 inches from my face. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm probably shitting myself worse with the xenomorph. In both cases, I'm pooping my pants. But
you better take your chances with the Australian.
Here's the second one. If I get let go, then I cross the desert. Maybe I find water, but I have oxygen to breathe. The other one, if I get thrown outside, I die because it's space. Like, what oxygen you have is on the ship. What food you have is on this ship. You're not growing nothing.
Yeah.
The only planet that you did find is full of cabbages that want to suck your face off. So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I feel like the odds were stacked against Ripley maybe just a little bit more.
That's a very good point.
So, now I will
I hadn't thought about that.
I will dissent to your opinion if you can.
I can't. That's too good.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
when you bring in the odds were stacked against her and she still overcame, that's too good
somehow
to beat.
Still protected that little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Aang went back into hypersleep, and
we know
because of the other movies she made it, and they just freaking they clone her and send her back out or something.
They did. She's that bad. She's so
bad
awesome. They cloned her.
They cloned her and send her back out.
Wow, that's great.
See, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's a hard pull.
Nobody's cloning Mad Max. If anything, they're like,
there's no such thing as cloning.
Yeah. If there was, they'd be like, we don't want him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but he's not the quintessential Australian.
No.
You know what I'm saying? We can go full Deadpool on him and be like, I bet he's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under. But I don't know. I gotta go Ripley. I'm sorry, I've got to go Ripley.
Yeah, I think you're right.
She had the flamethrower.
Oh God, I forgot about the flamethrower.
She's destroying the eggs and pissing the queen off. Like, she went back knowing she could die.
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Xenomorphs are just, I have to put them on a little slightly higher pedestal than I pissed off Australians.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that.
But again, if you have any dissenting,
great.
I throw out little random tidbits, and then we're gonna go off of who we think will go from there. But yeah, Ripley, she has some gigantic cojones, let's say.
All right. Well, I think we'll actually be able to finish a bracket before we have to break.
Seriously, we're not even through with the first bracket, and we're already at 45 minutes. And we always pause around the 54 to 57 minute mark. So let's get through this one, and then we'll take a break.
That sounds great. All right. So, number 2 and number 7. Rambo, in all of his long list of films, he has the highest kill count of anybody.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Versus Conan the Barbarian.
Okay, so here is where I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah.
So this is just my opinion. Conan is proficient in one type of battle.
Sword.
He can physically fight you.
Yeah.
And he can fight you. You're not beating him with a sword. However, Rambo is a Green Beret.
Mm-hmm.
He can fight pretty damn well himself with a blade weapon. We've already seen that.
Yeah, he's got that
knife down. Alone created a craze for a certain type of knife during the 80s. Everybody I know had the Rambo knife with the compass. Oh shoot, sorry, my mic just fell off. With the compass in the back. Sorry, I know the adapters don't work, so everybody on YouTube, yes, we're trying to get this fixed. Everybody I know that was a teenager had the Rambo knife with the compass in the back that had the mini saw. It had the fishing hooks with a little bit of fishing line.
Yeah.
It had waterproof matches, yada, yada, yada. That was my prized possession as a kid when I tromped through the woods. hunting the evil Vietnamese that were coming after me. So, again, just going logical. How do we compare someone that's never shot a gun to someone who's proficient in modern warfare, let's say? So just like with Dutch. Above. If I'm going to be consistent in the way I vote, then I have to say, given the arsenal at their hands. Because, I mean, Rambo sat there while that dude shot an AK-47 at him and just slowly screwed in
didn't
that
he?
explosive
He's
tip.
like, I don't give a damn.
If you shoot me, I don't care. Bagoom. You know, pieces. And they left the boots even. That was the most cool. That was actually the coolest part of the whole scene. They left the boots. He literally got exploded, but his boots stayed. And again, him being a special forces guy.
Blow you out of your
I think Conan is immensely stronger because he's a barbarian. However, Rambo did kind of show that primal part of himself, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rambo went straight primal. He covered himself in freaking mud. One of the coolest scenes ever. Let somebody walk by him and then his eyes go blink. And then just cut the dude's throat. So, any type of environment other than an arena, a battle arena. I don't think that Conan can beat John Rambo. Like, I mean, you're talking about snow, jungle, city, anything. Conan, number one, is going to get confused in the city. Like, by Crom, what are all these giant structures?
So you drop him in a Mortal Kombat area.
Right. That's one thing. We're talking about, if we're talking about everyday things, I mean, there's no jungle that John Rambo doesn't win in.
Yeah.
He will literally create things that will kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Crom's not saving your ass from Rambo in the jungle. Again, though, I will say, though, you're talking a straight up hand-to-hand fight. Rambo does damage, Conan probably wins. A bladed fight, there's not even a competition.
He's still going to use his knife, and he's going to lose.
He's
going to want to use that knife.
Even if you give him a sword, he's not winning because Conan, again, he's that huge because all he's done his whole life is fight other human beings and kill them. But any other environment, I just can't see Rambo losing. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. Like, again, because of his traps. That was one of the
he was good
things.
at those.
I mean, like Rambo 1, when he was in the city, like, he set the traps, you know, that blew up people, or you know what I'm saying?
He did that again in the very
in the second one, and the one again, the Rambo 3, Afghanistan, like, he's constantly setting traps. He's a tactical mind like nobody else. He literally has a CIA handler because he's so damn dangerous. And to give him a little bit of credit, he dipped his hands in glass and glue.
Oh, yeah.
And he did beat the hell out of that one guy.
Yeah.
So it's not like Rambo's a slouch when it comes to physicality.
Nope.
It's just, you know, there's a little bit difference of living in the desert, swinging a sword against multiple people all day versus lifting weights and training as a military operative. However, a military operative is ready for anything. Does that make sense?
I totally know what you're saying.
They're ready for multiple different types of incursions. They're ready for multiple different types of scenarios. Adapt, improvise, overcome. So, given that alone, I'm going to give the edge to Rambo.
You know, I did not think you'd go that way.
I can surprise you sometimes there, boss.
I planned on Rambo the whole way, but I did not expect you to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, he's going to be a Conan guy.
I am a Schwarzenegger guy, and I'm a Conan guy. Red Sonja. I mean, that was a great film too. Where did it come from?
Yeah,
Conan. But yeah, I've got to give it to Rambo. Again, I think the diversity of skill set. You know what I mean? Like, just going on the diversity of skill set. And that's what I'm trying to do, is be consistent in what have you faced, like we were talking about. Like, what have you faced? And how did you overcome the obstacles to get to your victory, right? So in this situation, Conan fought a lot of people, but he also had Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it helps to have a 7-foot dude on your side. He's a little intimidating. It helps to have a wizard on your side. It helps to have the little guy that was like the thief, you know, with the 2 knives. It helps to have friends. Rambo was a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
The only help he had was from that one girl, and she got caught. So, yeah.
I think I just figured out the next 4 already. So let's take a quick break.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, we're going to finish. I think this is going to... I
mean, some of them are being a little, but you know what we ought to do, though, is maybe do the next bracket so that we don't make the next 4 so obvious.
Okay, we can do that.
And look,
I think I might have room to actually fill it out on here. Let's give it a shot.
All right, let's do
I'm
it.
going to write it real quick. We'll be right back.
All right, we'll be back. Yeah.
Yep, okay. Boom, and we're back.
Boom.
And I went ahead and wrote up side B on the board.
Show
Boom.
our
there
YouTube
it is,
viewers.
everyone.
More incentive to go to YouTube so you can
That's
actually
right.
see. Although we do appreciate you listening.
I love you listening.
It's not gonna make any difference. I'm gonna be honest with you because you're gonna hear everything anyway.
Well, exactly. The only difference is you can see us and
Oh, you can see
trust
us,
us. We are so entertaining.
Cool new mics and everything. I'm just saying, and our mic stands.
We
that you
got
got
a pretty
us.
cool setup.
I mean, I'm just saying these are really awesome. You did a fantastic job.
We're not Joe Rogan's podcast studio, but I like our studio here.
He's got the sound. He's like Metallica, the mic with a little filter through it,
Yeah.
and nothing else matters. Remember the video?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, coming up first is 1 versus 8 seed.
Give it to me, baby.
John Matrix from our namesake Commando
Commando
versus one that's a squeaker to get in here.
All right.
Axel Foley from Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay, so this one is going to be difficult for me again because you're talking about military knowledge versus street knowledge.
And this guy, I don't think he's John McClane wise, but I think he's a little bit smarter.
He is more street smart, a little bit less cop smart. He probably can't tell you all the cop codes.
Yeah,
you did
true.
a 321.2 on. He again in
Very good.
Eddie Murphy's guys. You stole some shit on Saturday.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, I can catch this burglar, but it's gonna be a different way I catch him because I know how they did it.
So once again, I think you have to include, like we did before, if you put them in any situation, not just their own situations, who's going to be able to maneuver their way out of it? Now, here's the deal.
Personally, I think this is a pretty simple matrix because I don't think Foley was much of a
So I'm going to argue
brawler.
this. No, I can argue this.
Okay.
And so I'll do it the same way we did it earlier. Straight one-on-one, Foley dies.
Fast.
Like fast. Like, I'm sorry.
Commando carried trees on his shoulder
and
his daughter on the other like this.
Yeah. So again, he dies very quickly, and we also know
This is so ridiculous.
He's also a good planner. He's adept at multiple weapons.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like the picture has him holding a freaking helicopter, multiple missile launcher, which no human can possibly
awesome.
hold him. I mean, that is really.
That makes a hell
awesome.
of a phone case too.
Oh man, I'm just saying that's pretty awesome. But McFoley. So here's the difference. I think one-on-one, all day long, Commando. All day long, not even close. Put him in an urban setting, I don't think Commando stands a chance. Because Axel Foley knows so many people. He's the cop that everybody talks to. He's the cop that everybody knows. He can make a phone call and find out some shit. He can walk into someplace, pretend to be somebody else with his badge, and get what he wants. So I'm going to compare this to the old DC argument. Does Batman have prep time? Right? I mean, is that not the argument?
Yeah.
Batman versus so. The question is, well, does Batman have prep time? Because technically Batman has a contingency program for everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you give him prep time, Batman could win. Even though he's not he's not a god.
He's not.
He's not an inhuman. He's not a whatever.
No.
But he can still beat every last one of those bastards. And in some universes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Like most recently within the continuity when he hooked up to Brainiac's thing and he literally said, I am a god. It is his intellect plus the other things that make him so dangerous.
Yeah.
So with Axel, he's not a fighter. He's not a brawler. You're exactly right. But he is adept with a gun.
Yeah.
He is a cop. He has intuitions. He has cop knowledge. One of my favorite scenes ever. And I've seen at least 3 copycats of it since Axel Foley.
Okay.
The whole use super glue and
the fingerprint thing,
and a wrapper of gum.
Okay.
Press the wrapper of gum up against it, put super glue on it, the acetane attaches to the oils in the finger. You gotta be a smart dude. He used acetane and something else to get the fingerprint, but he used the wrapper of the gum because it was metallic.
To break the circuit.
To break the circuit and open the window without. So he's got smarts. That dude is a very smart dude. Where I have my problem is that so is Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that high up in the military if you're stupid.
He came up with lots of schematics to be able to kill those. Oh, wait a minute.
Who were the bad guys in that one? After it's just taken.
He killed 87 people in that movie. He wiped out an entire army.
Base, essentially, right?
He was taking on it was basically an army that had been thrown out of this government.
Right.
And the thrown out president, who he helped overthrow, actually.
Absolutely.
Kidnapped his daughter and said, I need you to go kill the president that you put in power. And he killed every other member of his team. And said,
agreed.
Now, that's it. You go do it or I'll kill your daughter. And then I'll kill you.
So, no, that's a really good point. So you're kind of swinging me back towards...
So he's like, okay.
All right.
He figured out how to get out of a plane. He knew the schematics of a 747
to get down.
To get down. He knew how that worked. He just knew it. He just knew that.
All right. So you have 100% convinced me. Even as smart as Axel Foley
he wouldn't know that.
He wouldn't know that stuff. We're talking about
he would talk his way.
Special.
There's a difference.
Well, that's the difference. He would have gone up with his badge and done some character, and they would have landed.
He couldn't do that because he had that big gorilla fella with him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then Arnold killed that guy with
literally
this move.
Snapped his neck and then put the thing on him. Don't rest him. He's dead.
Let me lean back. He said, "May I have a pillow?" And then she gives him a pillow, and he puts the pillow behind his head, and then he gets the blanket, and he does this, just like that. Don't move, stay, buddy.
Those of you on YouTube, forget Ben's wild movements.
So, then they got, whoa, and then he goes, and
snacks his neck.
And puts the pillow behind his head.
And wasn't that guy the guy from The Running Man? Different guy.
He might have been. I think that
guy was the same guy from The Running Man. That was one of the two, it was the Latino gal and then the black guy, right? And him.
Yeah.
I think the African-American dude I think that might have been the same guy.
Might have been. Different hair, though.
Different hair, yes.
That might be throwing me off.
It might not have been. I don't want to lump everybody into looking like the same guy.
But there were the 80s. They all kind of rolled into these different movies.
But in the 80s, though, it was like the other day that meme started rolling through again. It's the one henchman, the one Vietnamese henchman.
That guy,
that is literally
he was in Die Hard, Lethal Weapon.
And they said this guy has been in 147 films as the bad guy. Well, I mean, if you find a niche and you're good at it, that dude still made a whole bunch of money.
He did.
So good for you. This guy was huge. Yeah. Like maybe football player or something.
He was bigger than Arnold. And Arnold's like between my size and your size.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'1". Yeah. So I'm 6'3". I'm just slightly taller than Arnold. I'm just massive number of inches
shorter than him.
Massive number of inches skinnier, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that guy was big, he was able, they put him in there because it was a believable thing in Running Man, right? So, with the other guy, the white guy, the nerd.
Yeah, Sully.
I hate to say it, but even at the beginning, you're like, oh, you're not going to make it.
No, you knew that. You knew he wasn't going to make it. He's like, Sully, remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied. Boom.
I'm talking about Running Man too. The nerd with the glasses.
Wait, he's on here. That guy's on. Ben Richardson's on here.
Well, what I'm saying is, in that movie, The Running Man, there were 4 of them, right?
That he killed? Yeah.
No, 4 of them that he came in with.
Oh yeah.
The Latino gal, right? That was trying to help him. And then there was a black dude and a skinny white nerd, right?
I can't remember. Oh yes, there was.
With glasses.
Yes, that guy. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. He's like tech from Rebels.
Yeah.
That is a pun. Technically, you think that guy isn't going to do it, but he's so smart. He kills you with science.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Science.
I had to do. I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there.
Science. I wish I had a button right now. Science.
That would have been awesome. Killing me with science. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, oh man, yeah. Okay, so we are literally talking about a fictional universe, but we're trying to use real world schematics and thoughts about it. So yes, I only see one scenario where Axel wins. I see a bunch of scenarios where, Commando
Doctor
wins.
Strange.
Yeah, like 605. I'm sorry. How many did he win? One. Yeah, Axel won one. But I'm sorry, he's carrying that log, like you said. Yeah. He's flexing like hell. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, again, because of the military background, I'm like, this dude's had some training in a way that most people just haven't been trained in terms of physical combat. Also, let's say endurance.
Oh, yeah.
These military dudes, with the SEALs being as strong as they are, their biggest strength is endurance and mental strength.
Yeah, what they have to go through.
Just to be
training.
able to. So, they're not only can kick your ass, they can outlast you if you're in a fight because of their endurance training. So I just can't see, even with the huge muscles and they do tire out faster, but Eddie Murphy's this skinny, funny dude. Mm-hmm. I can see if they were in Detroit, because he had to go to LA for the second one. But if they were in Detroit, Axel wins. Pretty much everywhere else, I'm sorry.
It's all over.
Commando just whoops his ass because he's not just proficient in a pistol. Like I said, he can pick up a helicopter's missile launching system somehow and control it.
He's going to pick up the helicopter and throw it at
I mean, seriously. Like,
let's go. We're going.
We just got to be honest about that one. He really does rule the roost on that one.
Well, this next one's very interesting, I think.
Lay it on me.
Number 4, number 5, Martin Riggs, Lethal Weapon.
Yes. Special Forces.
Yeah, he was. But Dr. Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay. So
but he was also in the military.
He was, and this is
a spy.
This is actually gonna tug at my heartstrings because I'm gonna go logical.
The thing is, we cannot talk about all of his kills, Indiana Jones, and all he did because we don't want to spoil the new movie.
Oh yeah. You can't do that.
Because it talks a lot about
his past
and his time in the
military. So I'm going to be 100% honest.
So I'm going to tell you right now, Dr. Jones's kills are implicated to be high.
Okay, but here's the deal, though. You get to see his whole entire universe. You never saw Martin Riggs in the military.
We did not. But if you...
He was in the Special Forces.
If you've watched the television show...
I did. I remember
it talks a little bit... Lethal Weapon show.
Okay, my brother loved it. I hated it.
It talks... a little bit more about his past.
I have to lean on you.
So you learn a little bit more about his time in the military, and he was a badass.
He was a definite badass. Yeah. Remember, he's the one that took the shot, with the helicopter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
he says that he took a shot at 1,000 yards in high wind. And made it.
That is. So basic training, you train at 300. You can get your proficiencies in different things. 300 is very easy. At least to me it was.
300 yards?
Yeah.
With what weapon?
Depends on what you're trying to get qualified in. But mostly it's the 16.
The M16?
Yeah.
Are you using
a rifle?
The optics that are on it, or do you have better optics?
No, not better optics. Single optics. Single lined out.
For 300 yards?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that with my eyes today.
Okay. Eyes today, possibly no, but remember my right eye is 2016, my left eye is 2300, so I have a natural ability to shoot better because
that's not fair.
I know it's not fair, but you're not supposed to close your left eye. Yeah. Because it messes with your way. Predators have our eyes forward so that we can measure depth.
Yeah.
Prey has it on the side so they can see more around them. With my left eye automatically being a little bit more fucked up, excuse my French again, Like when I look down at my right eye compensates for my left eye, but I still see stereoscopically. And I was also taught by my grandfather, who was a Force Recon Marine. I used to go to the Marine base.
Yeah, you told me that.
In Camp Lejeune and shoot all the time. That was our favorite thing to do together. I could outshoot some of the Marines. And that, now, granted, that was when I was young, and maybe they were just throwing it for Master Sergeant Larrick. You know what I mean? I don't deny that in any sense.
Master Sergeant.
Yeah,
he rank.
He had, well, I mean, he enrolled at 16, went to World War II at 17. He was an Iwo Jima survivor. He was on a boat surrounding
the flag, did he?
He watched it.
Yeah, my mom actually met one of the guys that did the flag because they were in the burn unit.
I was like, again, my grandfather was right there.
Yeah,
he was
the
up.
People that actually were in the statue. My mom actually met one of those people.
The hill that they had to take. That's the one my grandfather went up.
Yeah, that's
the one where everybody died.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And World War II, where literally look to your left, look to your right.
Yeah,
they're both going to be dead. I'm sorry. And he has a metal Bible from back in the day. They used to put them in your chest pocket above your heart. My mom doesn't have it, but my aunt has it. It has a German bullet in it.
Damn.
The metal casing stopped him, and if that hadn't happened, I would not even be here.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was a little bit of a badass back in the day.
Yeah.
I obviously did not follow in his footsteps. However, there weren't like 10 wars. But he went all the way through the Korean War and even advised in the Vietnam. And so those type of guys, you know, they got a different type of mindset. You know what I mean? Like World War I trench warfare, like rush them as hard as you can and overpower them. However, that just is like throwing meat into a grinder.
So are you leaning to the way that the World War II veteran is going to be more badass than the Vietnam veteran?
They're different badasses.
They are.
Definitely not superior.
Because that's Jones versus Riggs. That's what that's going to end up being.
It is. And so what I'll say is Jones, as far as I remember, he wasn't in trench warfare, right?
Not World War II. No,
he was intelligence.
He was a spy. Yeah, he was intelligence, right? Yeah.
Riggs was in the jungle watching his buddies die all the time. Not just a little bit.
He was a sniper. I don't know if he was a scout sniper, but he was some sort of sniper. I think he said he was the Army, not the Marines.
Oh, I think, he was a Green Beret.
Was he?
So
that's Army still.
So that's Army, 100%. I'm almost positive he was a Green Beret.
Okay.
So again, different types of training. You know, you got Green Berets, Black Berets, Force Recon. You got the Air Force's rescue, and then of course Navy.
Yeah.
You know, go us. SEALs.
Yeah.
With certain groups being hidden. And now we have Space Forces. Yeah.
Wonder what that Special Forces is going to be.
Well, you know what? It leaked. A document leaked and it's been on the web recently that we have said if we need to, we can go into space and fight a battle. So how the hell can we do that when we're having trouble just getting us to the moon? So again, you know, military's always light years ahead of the rest of us in terms of technology. I'm not going to question that statement. I just know that it's true.
Yeah.
Because
I guarantee you they have a weapon that they can fire in space.
Well,
Isn't that
more
hard?
importantly,
if we can make a ventilator that we can take into an MRI room, they can make an M16 that can fire in space.
That's a good thing. But no, it's more about satellites. You know, a way to cripple another, and I know we're really off topic, listeners, but you know, we go down rabbit holes, and that's just the way it is. Even more importantly would be the easiest way to cripple a force would be to shoot down their satellites.
Yeah.
I mean, these are communication satellites.
You know good and well, every war that we end up in, there's always we gotta have the boots on the ground. So what do? Have boots in the space? Are we fighting on the moon? What are we doing?
I have been privy to a lot of videos with these electronic soldiers recently.
Oh, I've seen those.
And when my Navy time, I used to make the joke, you know, because they initially put me into robotics.
Oh yeah.
And I would use the Simpsons jokes. The wars of the future will not be fought on the ground, the seas, or the land. They'll be fought with robots. And it's your job to build and maintain these robots.
They didn't like you, did they?
No, they hated me with an ever-living passion. But
God, imagine if we had both been in the Navy at the same time.
we'd probably still be in.
Well, if we'd done it together.
Yeah, we would have never gotten married. We would have just be in Hawaii someplace, like chilling. Yeah, no. People, no. There's no doubt about that.
There was a time where I was thinking about.
I had zero friends. Zero.
Yeah.
I went in a little bit later, so I was a little bit older, and then on top of the fact that when they know you're. I don't know how they knew. I was the only 99, which means ASVAB score.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's, oh, you're going officer. No, I'm going enlisted. Screw you.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, sorry, I blanked when you said that, but I know what you're talking about.
No, and I scored really high, but I never cared about any of that. I knew that was never going to be my career.
It's not that hard of a test, really.
Certain parts are, certain parts aren't.
Yeah.
That's what I will say.
The wife took it, and she's like, I don't know how people do poorly. But.
Yeah, but they found out. I mean, yeah, I was even whispered to by the Army, and I'm not even supposed to say that, but yeah.
Yeah, she took it, and they were like, you can have any job you want.
That's what they told me.
Yeah.
But off subject completely. But yeah, so everybody's got their specialties. And so what we're looking at right now.
Jones was an officer. I don't think Riggs was.
Riggs was enlisted on the ground.
39 kills total in Lethal Weapon series. And like I said, Jones has a lot of implicated kills. He does have some of his own, some with his whip, some with his trusty revolver.
He shot the one dude with the knife. He led the other guy into the airplane blade. Yeah. So he's not
some with his hands. And some, he's just kind of there when he's saying, don't do that, and then they do it, and they die.
He threw the spear through the front of the motorcycle.
Where they opened the arc.
Oh, yeah. He didn't technically kill them. They opened the arc.
Like I said, he's like, don't do it, and they do it. He was the only one
smart enough to close his eyes.
Like I said, he's just there when it happens.
However, here's my big thing. So, are we going to include Crystal Skull?
Why?
Because no human being ever can survive inside of a lead refrigerator in a nuclear zone.
He did.
He would have walked out and got immediate radiation poisoning.
He got up just fine, dusted himself off, got in the car.
Yeah, nah, that's like the power of the sun right there.
Well, we're going to find out how he is in this next movie. I haven't seen it yet, but if he's coughing and everything, then we know that he didn't do so well.
Again, they go back and they go forward, and so I'm going to stick with my original thing. What have I seen?
Yeah. How
can I apply it to our hypothetical conversation, right? Indiana Jones has fought, but most of his is luck.
Oh, wow. You're right. He's a scientist, he's a lover, not a fighter.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is luck. Like him reaching for the hat, the boulder not coming 1 second earlier. Mola Rama Salam, you betrayed Shiva. Just a whole lot of things add up in his favor. You know what I mean? Riggs, again, he had an attack helicopter.
Yeah.
Come and kill his beloved. Shoot his trailer, and it was his military instinct that allowed him to get into a place where he didn't get killed. Indiana probably would have whipped his way out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he swung on it.
Yeah, seriously. Like, somehow he would have figured something out. So I'm going to be honest with you. There's a big difference between intelligence officers and people who were on the ground. And we know Riggs was on the ground.
Yeah.
And that dude killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
You see it throughout the series where he's being shot at, and so I hate to say it, I love Indiana. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. My favorite movies, I enjoy Indiana Jones more than I do the Lethal Weapon movies. If I had to put him in an arc, although I would say I would take 1 and 3, and then you can shove 2 and 4 up anybody's ass. When it comes to Indiana Jones, but Lethal Weapon 1, 2. They had. That's like one of the first things that Jet Li.
Yeah.
One of the first times people are like, "Oh my God, this guy's a badass." Martin kept up. He got his ass kicked, but he had enough training to keep himself from getting killed.
Yeah.
I don't think Indy has that training.
I think you could compare Indiana Jones to Martin Riggs. Not Martin Riggs, but Danny Glover's character.
Yes, 100%.
He'd be like, I'm too old for this shit.
Well, I know if it was Danny Glover's character, I put Indiana Jones above him.
I would too.
However, again, it's the Green Beret thing. Again, I'm trying to take a fictional universe and apply it to what we're discussing.
I think if you always wondered, Danny Glover's like, I'll take you in a fight any day. The young whippersnapper.
The dude, even though it's technically impossible, the dude pulled his buddy off the toilet with a giant lead blanket.
Yeah.
You can't be within 5 to 10 feet of a shockwave without the shockwave killing you. Now, I don't know if those blankets, who knows? I don't know. I know there's invisibility cloaks now. I know those exist. I've seen them online. But as far as preventing a shockwave from hitting you, rupturing your brain, and
they were in the iron, and they had the lead.
They were going
wearing
into
lead
the
vests
tub.
and lead blankets.
Right.
That's a lot of lead.
But lead prevents radioactivity, not shockwaves.
Shit's heavy too, man. I mean, it would block a lot.
But it's still metal.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a concussive grenade, or in this case, it wasn't even a grenade. Was it C4? Do you remember?
I can't remember. There's plastique.
Plastique. Well, sometimes plastique has been referred to as C4.
C4, but it's similar. It's very similar.
So let's put it this way. I could take a cell phone size of C4 and destroy your house with it.
I know.
If I put it in the right place.
Well, it destroyed that bathroom. We saw the shitter come running out.
I'm torn, but as much as I love Dr. Jones,
I think it's got to be Riggs. I really do.
I really think that.
I think it's closer than we're putting it, though.
See, again, with my experience, I'm thinking of an intelligence officer who does.
Yeah,
now,
you have that.
Granted,
you have that.
let's say we're talking about a different argument, not who's going to win in a fight. Let's say who's going to win in an environment where they're thrown into and they have to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Riggs is going to stand out like a sore thumb and be killed immediately.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones is actually going to blend in seamlessly.
Yeah. He
will figure out a way to blend in, learn the language, currency, the whole 9 yards. He's that smart, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He is proficient in weapons because he was in the military.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's a slouch. However, we're talking about a one-on-one type thing. Riggs, I mean, I don't know how many listeners out there have had a dislocated shoulder.
That's the biggest bunch of BS I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, no, you can't slam it back in. You got to grab a book and pop it back in. We both know that. The old trick, grab a big book and slam it on the side. That's the oldest way to pop a shoulder back in. You have to have the weight to draw it back down and then pop it back in. You cannot shove your shoulder in from the side because you would rip all the tendons.
Yeah. And
your rotator cuff. And we're both too medical.
I have ripped my rotator cuff. It is not fun.
No, it sucks like a balls. And then you have to do isometric exercises, which means you can't put any weight on it. You have to push up against the wall and just use...
I still do those today.
Yeah, seriously. So, again, I know we're getting a little scientific here.
That could come in later, folks, for those on YouTube.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Bill Nye versus Even Drago. Which one's smarter? We already know that.
Yes, we
Even
do.
Drago.
I just pulled my mic off.
Well, I mean, it's live.
So, what are we doing? We're going Riggs?
Yeah, I gotta go Riggs. I'm sorry. I just have to. I have to go Riggs.
Right.
And so that makes that next match.
I do believe either way, if they come down to it, both of them are going to pull a gun, and I think Riggs is a better shot.
That's okay. So if you break it down just like that, I 1,000% agree with you because I think Indy's a great shot. I think Riggs is a bullseye. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no way he's missing.
Yeah. All right. So next we have seed 3, seed 4 is Ben Richards from The Running Man.
The Running Man
versus, now this is a deep cut. Maybe not everybody will know this, but I think once you hear the movie, you'll be like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
James Braddock from MIA, Missing in Action Vietnam movie.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is one of the easiest ones to me.
Okay, let's hear it. I want you to hear your argument first.
Ben?
Yeah.
No military training. I mean, he was the butcher or whatever.
That was his name, yes, but he didn't.
But they never really talked about his military background.
All he did was
he was
kill
a pilot.
bad guys in this film.
He was a pilot.
Yeah.
he said he didn't want to kill people.
And then we saw it, yeah.
And we saw him veering off. So
yeah.
he's a military pilot versus, again, a Green Beret.
They loved Green Berets in the 80s, didn't they?
They loved Green Berets in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, those, you know, the burgundy and oh, they love those hats. Plus the you know, the emblems. They're, you know, kind of showed where you were at.
Yep.
I don't think there's even a comparison. And this is why. One was in the military. One was huge. Did great things in his little video game. The other one was a Green Beret and literally slaughtered very, very skilled people. He did not just go up against civilians. He went up against other military folks. And with Chuck Norris being who he is back in the day, he used his karate, his guns, and whatever else. There's a reason why he only shows up periodically in the Expendables, and usually it's to save everybody's ass and go like, "Nah, I don't want to join you. I'll see you later." He's a one-man army.
Yeah.
So again, just in my opinion, from what I remember from those movies, there's just no way the Running Man beats. I'm sorry, he just doesn't.
I don't remember much about Missing in Action.
I
do remember him
films.
Killing a lot of people.
Loved him.
With his little Uzi.
Oh, the Uzi. That was, I mean, that's between that and probably like Miami Vice. Uzis became hugely popular.
Yeah, Chuck loved an Uzi in his movies.
Oh, double Uzis.
Yeah. Oh, he did that with that torn jean jacket. Sleeveless thing, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And as far as Ben goes here,
I don't even think the size of the Running Man would make a difference in a physical fight with Chuck Norris. Or Chuck Norris's character.
You know, Arnold's a little smaller in this one than he was in Commando
that is
and
actually,
Predator.
That is a great point. He did not seem as beefy. Yeah. And whether that was done intentionally or done through wardrobe, I do not know. But I think they might have done it maybe to make him more seem like the average man. You know, like the everyday man, like to give you the example. Oh, if I was in the Running Man, I could do this too. If I'm in MIA, no, I can't do that.
Yep. He all he did was take out whoever was in his way of proving his innocence. That's
honestly,
all he did. And I think just that's an everyman thing.
Remember,
he had that woman.
There was and the black dude.
The other guys got killed off within two.
But they did help somewhat. And then Jesse the Body puts on that bullshit weird thing and comes after him. You got this weird fat fuck that is singing opera the entire time. You got this Chinese dude, which was the hat guy from
Odd
Job from the Bond films, who is a hockey player. Okay, so no, I'm sorry. Love the film.
It is. It's fun.
It is
a fun little film.
ass movie to watch. Great
Stephen King movie.
concept. Again, you have the guy from TV show.
From Family Feud.
Family Feud.
Richard Dawson.
Did so perfect. One of his best roles ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He was awesome in it.
Yeah.
Jesse the Body was awesome in it. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't remember them ever saying these guys were like military trained or whatever. They were guys that had a massive advantage because it was their environment, and they also, I've got skates and you have to walk around on ice by yourself.
So yeah, I think if we just put it this way, we've got a super badass military guy that's stuck in the jungles of Vietnam and he shoots his way out with an Uzi and kills anybody in his way, versus a helicopter pilot from a dystopian America in 2025.
And we don't, was it military or was it police? I'm starting to sit here and think, and I can't remember.
We'll call it military police.
We'll call it military police. That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
And I'm going to go with you. I'm going
to
go
with
the Norris character.
Chuck wins this one.
Because even though he's able to kill these
comedic
gladiators.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great way. American Gladiators. Yes. That's almost what the TV show had to have been based off of, right?
Very similar. I wonder if this was 87, 88. American Gladiators came on right around this time. I wonder if
still one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, a good documentary too.
Great documentary. but a great show. I mean, you know, it was sort of like American Ninja Warrior, but versus another human being.
Yeah.
And the guys were really good at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They rarely lost. And if you won, you actually did something. You know what I mean? Like, you beat a dude that's twice your size. You could be faster.
Yeah.
Because they had jack guys on there too as contestants.
They did some of them.
But they were never, ever even close.
They were never as pumped as that dude.
To Nitro and whoever else. You know what I'm saying? But those guys that were speedy. I just saw a video the other day of some guy. Remember when they had the football? You got the football?
Yeah.
And some dude just went right and broke that dude's ankles. And then trotted into the end. So again, speed, intelligence, you could beat those type things.
Yeah, you can.
So you're telling me a helicopter pilot using intelligence and things like that could beat those guys. Put that same dude in Vietnam and see how long he lasts.
Exactly.
Again, we're trying to take fictional things and put them towards a rational conversation. But in my mind, the character in The Running Man could not be switched with the other one. Now, you put Chuck Norris in his place, I'm not sure if they even get him in the pod in the first place without killing everybody in the building. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Like, I mean, like, oh, come get me. Well, I'm a helicopter pilot. You're not going to grab me by both my arms. I'm going to, like, poke one of your eyes out, grab your balls off the other guy, shoot people, and I might go into hiding.
Yeah, I remember they grabbed it, like, ah! Yeah, Chuck's not doing it.
It's sort of like a Total Recall. Yes.
Yeah.
250-pound white dudes with no muscle can take Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger by the arms and put him into the mind eraser. No.
That did have that three-titted woman in it.
Oh, no, the movie was awesome. The remake with Bryan Cranston, not good. But it was just the concept. Like, why wouldn't you have security there? Like, if I was the director, I would have had two huge guys that were security for the recall place. You know what I mean? That was the whole name of the thing. Recall, recall, recall. Have two huge guys hold him down while the scientists put the braces on him and shoot him full of the stuff. Two scientists can't hold down Arnold Schwarzenegger, baby. That's not how he does more weight than you both are like this doing the the crunch. He just slams your heads into each other. Exactly like he did when he broke free from a metal restraint. If you want to argue whether it was a dream or not, that's for a different conversation.
So what do you think about this? Cobra versus Jack Barton from Big Trouble in Little China. This is the Kurt Russell character I think has a chance.
This one is exactly the same as the last one, so it depends on the situation. Are we talking Jack Burton post-potion? Pre-potion, there is no way in
All right, let's put it this way. We're talking Jack
at his strongest?
At the best we can get him.
So Jack at the strongest had a Chinese guy, a couple thousand years old, throw a knife directly at his head as fast as he could, caught it without thinking, and then popped him between the eyes.
All right, Jack wins.
I mean, okay, so if you're talking only about, because look, hey, the other guy, don't get me wrong,
Cobra killed 42 people in that movie.
Stallone was awesome.
He killed that serial killer. He whooped his.
But he didn't have the potion. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm, that big jawed Australian that was in everything.
But what about catchphrases?
Oh, there's nobody that's going to beat Jack Burton ever, except for Predator Arnold. Stick around, or Arnold from Commando. He's dead tired. That was his thing, though. But Predator had millions of little. Hey, dude, you're bleeding. They're up there in like an Alabama tick. Dude, you're bleeding. I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That brings the machismo out of you, right?
It does.
I'm sorry. It makes everybody think that they're going to hold a little grenade launcher.
I've used a lot of those one-liners in my life.
Oh, God.
It hurts so badly when my family doesn't get them.
Oh, man. We're at the age where half of our one-liners go over most people's head. Yeah. But not to our listeners. That's why we appreciate you listening, because you get our jokes.
That's right.
And you get our memes that are online. So again, if we are talking pure
please like and follow.
Yeah. If you guys don't mind, like we were going to talk about this anyway. If you can help us out, we love the likes. We really do. We appreciate all the shares. That is awesome too. If you could just follow. It doesn't take anything for you to hit the follow button, and then you'll see more of our crazy memes. And me and Ben both put them in there. You can't tell who's putting what, but we put silly memes out literally all the time that are literally designed to do nothing but bring nostalgia. And honestly, 90% of them are just funny as hell. If we're being honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was shocked that my Connor Macau did not get more likes.
No, yeah.
I'm Connor Macau, the Clan Macau.
Yeah.
I was born in 1518 on the shores of, and I am immortal. That was hilarious.
That's how I was like,
oh my God, the Highlander cow was hilarious. Anyway, but everybody loved if you went to Sears and you're, putting your arm on the Marlboro cigarettes, whatever. So again, if we're going to go peak performance, even Stallone took a little bit of damage in that movie.
Oh, that's the one thing about Stallone. He took beatings in his films when Arnold didn't.
You know what? That is actually a fantastic point. And I would have never thought about that until you told me. Rocky, he gets the crap beat out of him until he wins.
Yeah.
This movie, Cobra, he always gets the crap beat out of him until he wins. You're right.
Rambo took some beatings.
Demolition Man, not so much. I think that's when he probably more or less transitioned to try to match Arnold in that sense. Demolition Man, we should have put him in there too.
That's 92.
Oh, it was. I'm so sorry. Okay, fair enough. Because that dude...
I think that's whenever he saw a kink in Arnold's armor. Because...
Possibly.
That was... that was getting close to
That's close to the time
action hero.
I was going to say, Last Action Hero derailed Arnold's confidence.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, anybody listening who did not see that movie, go immediately and watch it. It is fantastic in every way imaginable.
Oh, that kid ruined
has
it for me.
more. Oh, see, don't even get me started when people talk about Star Wars and the kid.
Yeah.
This kid was a lot better. That kid, if you made him Anakin, I would have watched it all day long. He had more of the spunk and more of at least the acting chops.
Yeah.
Just the concept of it, of like the idea that Freddy Krueger could come across, or the fact that Jason Voorhees could come across, and that guy who was also the bad guy in The Golden Child.
Oh, I got a great Jason.
Oh,
versus
but the eyeball.
Disney meme coming
How did he
today.
know I had my dead ball, my bullseye eyeball in? Oh, I mean, even makes the monologue at the end. Oh, you want a nightmare? I've got Freddy. If you want to have blah, I've got. He literally says, "I'm bringing Dracula, werewolf, whatever. I'm going to rule this whole planet now." So that was actually a great villain for maybe another future podcast if we think about it. But no, the Last Action Hero got way more hate than it should have. I mean, it did have a cartoon cop in it.
Yeah.
But the concept in general was awesome.
Probably a little high concept for that time.
A little bit, but what it did do, and I love pointing this out, Sony created the mini disc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess how smart Sony was? They took all of those mini discs that they never used and they turned them into PlayStation Portable games. Because if you look at a PlayStation Portable, the original PSP game, and compare it to what you saw on screen, in terms of the music, it's the exact same casing.
Yeah.
And it was considered HD music back in the day, way before everybody else. But the difference was I could buy a CD in a giant cardboard container with all of the lyrics and everything for $19. It costs like $30-40 for a mini disc. So sometimes you just miss opportunities. But I also remember watching movies on my PSP and they were already in HD because they were considered computer screens. So, oh yeah, we can go on this forever. We're not going to go down that path, but like that was a really cool movie. Like with the, don't get me started. However, missed opportunity. So, back to our
So
original.
who you want to go with?
I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going peak,
Yeah, we gotta go peak. We can't go
I have to go Jack Burton.
I think I do too,
Also
actually.
because Wang, one of the coolest characters in there with the sorcerer eye and his buddy that did the sword fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool scene. They had a really fantastic battle scene. They actually had one of like the first iterations of Raiden, Lord Raiden.
Oh yes, they did. I remember that.
You know, he dies in such a like ridiculous way. You know, with the bricks, you know, that's cave in or whatever. But the whole concept was like, you know, with one guy that could swell himself up and make him stronger, and the guy's running back and forth. It's almost like Benny Hill, you know, and he's just destroying all. You know, it was a cool concept, and then they took one of the most prolific Chinese American actors and made him 7 feet tall, very menacing, yada yada yada. They put on screen. Now it doesn't age well, but they put a beholder. You know, the multiple-eyed thing from Dungeons and Dragons. They had a version of it in it. You know, and they threw a knife and stuck him in the eyeball with it, and he runs off screaming.
Yeah.
Or no, they shot him. Sorry, they shot him, and then he dodged a couple more bullets. You know, it was a cool concept. But Jack Burton without the potion doesn't stand a chance against any of the other 16. No, just not at all. He's a trucker.
Drives his truck over him.
Yeah, seriously, he drives a truck.
As long as he's in that truck, he wins.
And says catchphrases. You know.
Oh,
I mean, the wings of freedom never
good.
lose a feather. Come on, dude. Like that's an iconic
Damn, who
saying.
was the writer for this film?
Oh, Jiminy Christmas, they did a great job.
Yeah.
And then again with the, you just tell them what Jack Burton always says. The check is in the mail. That type of stuff immediately made you like, this guy's the coolest guy ever.
That is pretty cool.
But as far as his fighting
This is the
ability,
same guy that writes the Donald Trump speeches.
remember, oh Jesus, Lee. But remember, he gets his butt whooped most of the. Jack Burton gets his butt whooped most of the thing. Now he's got a little Uzi gun.
Yeah. There we
Imagine
go.
it, another Uzi. He gets his ass whooped in physical conflict, basically until it's him and the tall guy, Yang Fang or whatever it is, throws a knife at him, and he looks at it. You know. Because remember, he throws it and just kind of like does something, and the guy just like looks at it.
I remember that scene.
That's a nice knife, and throws it at him, and within a blink, he catches it and then puts it between his eyes.
How did I not get Crocodile Dundee?
So,
That's not a knife.
Oh, Crocodile couldn't deal with any of these guys either. Now, in the Outback, remember, some of this is going to be situational.
That's very true.
In the Outback, he has all of the Aborigines, and he's in his hometown. Yes, he's going to kill some of these guys, even some of the military guys. He's going to kill. Because basically everything in Australia that's not human is designed to kill you.
Throw this crock at you. Well, let's wrap this up because we're a little over an hour and a half now.
Oh, yeah.
And
so
we need to take a
what
quick
we're going
break.
to do is we've gotten basically through both halves, right?
We have.
And so are we going to agree on Jack Burton for this one?
Yeah, we are. We're down to our...
Grade 8.
Yeah, the Grade 8, the Elite 8, the
Elite
Final
8.
8, the Deadly 8.
The Deadly 8. And honestly, from here, I think it's going to go a little bit faster.
It is.
And then we're going to probably have some debate on like the final 4 and especially the final 2. I really do think
the champions.
The champions are going to be tough. I'm not going to lie.
I think the 8s are going to go quick. The 4 maybe not, but the final 2.
I think the 8s are going to go quick too. Yeah. But hey, guess what? You can sit around and find out.
We'll be right back. I got to compress a quick file, and we'll be right back.
Yes, sir. Welcome back, faithful listeners. We have reached the time where it is the Great 8, Elite 8. And we both have talked about it off mic. We know this round might not go as slow as some of the other rounds because we've already put our arguments out there. We've already put our logical decisions into why we think they should have advanced in the first place. But we also kind of acknowledged, looking at the board, some of these are really more advanced than the other ones, let's say. So I'm going to turn it over to Ben Davis, and him being the runner of the tournament. He's going to lead us in with our first elite, great, whatever matchup. Let's go.
This is Ben Davis here at the Lawrence Joel Coliseum in
Let's get it on.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And we're down to the Deadly 8 in the Great 80's Action Hero Playoff. And we have Dutch from The Predator versus John McClane. Ripley versus Rambo.
Hell yeah.
Matrix versus Riggs. And Braddock versus Jack Burton.
All right, so let's go left first, if you don't
All
mind.
right, let's start off with
Let's go.
Dutch McClain.
So for our non-YouTube people, the
A
left
bracket.
the A bracket or left side of the bracket.
A bracket. Dutch the Predator versus John McClane and his intuition and dirty tactics, solving the crime versus the guy who can make a predator quit.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to go with this one. Again, I'm trying to stay within the same argument base, okay?
Yeah.
I don't see McClane winning
I'm going to tell you right now.
because Dutch made all of those traps for the predator. So he has to be obviously... So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I'm interrupting you to just say I think McClane's going to find a way to separate Dutch's bicep from the bone during this match.
Please do tell how that happens.
I don't know how he does it, but he has a way of injuring his foes in a good way.
I agree with that. Like we talked about with the Swedish guy who was obviously martial arts trained, military trained, and somehow he still won. However,
he's and he always injures them in the way that they're the most deadly.
We have more information on McClane with more movies.
And they did a comic. And he started his career during the Son of Sam era of the New York PD.
The summer where it was super hot.
So that's 76.
Yeah. Okay. So I can see that argument. I'm not...
New York was super deadly back then.
Oh, yeah, no. If you wore Jordans, you could be... And we both remember this, and maybe some of our younger listeners, but I know the main constituent of our listeners, you definitely remember kids getting killed for their Jordans.
Oh, yeah.
Times Square was, if you were in New York in the 80s, way different than New York. And I would say...
Like when I was there last summer, it was good times. But I did see some drugged out people just hanging out and just asleep in Times Square. But if you've been there in the 80s,
it's like
that's
constant,
all you saw.
Every alley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would almost compare it to what they've done to Vegas. Minus the week.
Yeah.
Because I went back in the heyday. When people were just drunk as snot.
Yeah, I was there back then too. Yeah.
But then
when you could have gotten stabbed walking down the street and you'd fallen down dead,
and no one would have ever known. Like seriously, they would have thought you fell out drunk.
They just walked on you.
But I've also been back since it's been family friendly. And we talked about the little snapping of the women thing. Yeah. But they're not forcing it on you. They're not yelling at you. They don't have them beside you like they used to.
Yeah.
And so now it's mostly, if I'm being honest, you just have to deal with the weed smell, as you're walking up and down the street.
I don't have a problem with that.
And I don't have a problem with that. But here's the difference. McClane is street savvy. Dutch, I have to go...
Well, we don't know his entire military career. We don't know where all the CIA has sent him. Exactly. He could have done some covert stuff in Brazil.
He had a team based off their abilities.
Yeah.
Right? The smarter guy had the little...
Well, that's Shane Black.
RPG. You had the Indian, who was the tracker. You had...
The dangerous son of a bitch.
And Jesse the Body. So, for the non-wrestling fans that only know him as from Minnesota.
The governor.
Original
governor.
Jesse the Body was called Jesse the Body because he looked a lot like Schwarzenegger at his peak.
Yeah, he was a wrestler.
He was not as cut. But you're talking about just sheer size of his biceps. That was the one thing that he always did. Well, this is a large man. So again, we're talking about him leading he led Carl Weathers. You know what I mean? Like he had a specialized group.
Everybody remember that scene, man.
Oh, come on! Biceps out here, which I don't have.
We don't have that, but that was a sad imitation, folks.
Sad is us being very nice to each other. However, so again, if we're applying it to real world stuff, if you work for the CIA, you're a bad MFer.
Pretty much.
I don't think John McClane works for the CIA. Now,
in any way, shape, or form.
But I do agree with you. He somehow finds a way.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but when you can, again, it all goes back to you're fighting a predator. And he totally MacGyvered it.
He did.
Now, he had his 16 with the RPG on the bottom, and
that was awesome.
oh, come on, everybody remembers. So just like the
Boom,
like the
boom.
Commando picture.
Yeah.
It's almost the exact same pose. He's got camouflage on. One, he's holding it down here with the RPG on the bottom. The other one, he's got it right here. But he's still got black makeup, straight and some type of camo on. So,
man, he had good poses.
Oh, what are you talking about? How do you take a dude that's, again, the youngest Mr. Universe ever and not show off his biceps and things like that?
Yeah.
Really off subject, if you want to talk about body dysmorphia, and women love to talk about Barbie, and Vogue, Cosmopolitan, and I'm sorry, but if you're a young man growing up when we are,
yes,
you have to have a massive chest and huge biceps to be a hero.
You do.
So let's say outside of McLean, let's say a good chunk of them were huge dudes.
They all were, yeah.
Every action figure you got, even Quick Kick, who in the cartoon didn't have muscles, you bought the toy and he's got these veins through his biceps.
Yeah.
And so growing up in that age as a dude, I'm sorry, but I think there's an equal reason to think that we were given a complex about what the perfect man looked like. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong, and it is sad to think about.
So we were taught that being super strong, showing no emotion, and taking care of business with our fists, or our swords, or our guns was the best way to deal with confrontation, right?
Uh-huh.
You deal with it physically as a man. Yeah. That's not the real world. You know what I mean? So, as much as people like to argue about Barbie and the 50s woman and things like that, well, even back then, every single ad, the dude was in a suit. He obviously was a wealthy guy with a wealthy car, and he can supply for his family. And if you're anything but that, you're not a real man. And so I'll pose this to you, being a home dad.
Yeah.
Same thing for you. Because when we were growing up, women had the choice of being a mom, a worker, both, a companion. If you were a dude, and this is just my opinion, but I think I'm right, it was either you work or you're a bum.
100%. I still feel like a bum sometimes.
Oh, you should not. You should not. Again, I've known your daughter since birth, and she is so awesome. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. And the amount of stuff you do around the house, you filled in the other role. Your wife. I won't say her name on on the podcast.
Well, she has her own.
Okay, so let's just bump her. Her name's Amelia, and if you want to hear about Disney, go to Carousel of Castles, which is very interesting. She is super smart. She's very good with the computer. So if you're ever planning like a Disney trip, just follow our link tree and you'll find Amelia eventually. And she's very excellent at what she does. And that brings us back to the fact that she's a very excellent nurse. She's super smart. And to be honest with you, you didn't know you were going to be disabled.
No.
And it's a very rare one on top of it. So, reverse roles. However, that didn't make you any less of a fucking man, excuse my French, but I am very passionate about this subject. It doesn't. You're just masculine in a different way. So, however, that was not the case 20, 25, 30 years ago.
No.
It was not. I'm sorry. That's just the way it was. You were supposed to make a certain amount of money, drive a certain car, have 2.5 kids, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? The old joke.
Yeah.
And so
this is my child up to their hips,
right? And so I think masculinity in general. So the term toxic masculinity, I think, is thrown around way too much. And I really do believe, and I'm sorry we're so off topic, but chauvinism and knightism and all that other stuff. Yes, you know where being chivalrous went? Down the toilet, because y'all killed it.
Yeah.
Me holding the door for a woman was expected when I was being raised in Georgia. It was a nice thing to do. No one ever thought you can't open this less than 1 pound door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was not the point. I was just being nice.
Yeah.
Like, walking on, okay, it's been a meme before. What's wrong with this picture? Because the girl is on the side of the street. Mm-hmm. No, it was taught to me. You walk on the side of the street, and the woman walks on the inside in case a car gets out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take the brunt of the damage.
Yeah, but it used to be the opposite way back in the old days because they used to dump their stuff, their sewage out from the windows.
Well, it also used to have to do with what hand you drew your sword with.
Yes.
I mean, this goes back a long way.
It's always been changing.
Yeah, and it goes back a long way.
Chivalry is dead, but it is not always.
But feminism killed it. I'm sorry, you're not.
Well, let's go. We're not to Ripley yet, so let's go.
Oh no, and she's badass, and so it's like Ahsoka. If you don't like Ahsoka, then I question your Not that I question you. I'm just like, are you a little bit on the man spectrum?
Yes.
And the fact that you can't appreciate a strong heroine. Does that make sense? And so,
if you're a man and can't appreciate it,
that's what I'm saying.
There's something fucking wrong
I'm just
with
like,
you.
okay, you're just
dude, go grow the fuck up.
Yeah, that means grow a set. Seriously, give your balls a tug. And so, long way to come back around to this, I know, but Dutch is that prototypical male from the 80s, is he not?
Totally. That's why they made him.
Not. He didn't talk a lot. He didn't show any emotion except anger. And
true. No, he never showed a bit of concern when everybody was dying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he never cried. He was
like
put him in the bag and put him over there. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different.
He'd been through hell with these guys.
Right. So it's a different time today. But let's just say in the time frame we're talking about, I know this was a very convoluted way to come back to my point. McClane was more of your average guy, and Dutch was that prototypical alpha male. I think if you put them both in the same situation, let's say 100 times,
Dutch,
80% of the time he's coming out victorious.
I think you're right.
And it's not that McClane couldn't do it.
Damn, I really wanted to go McClane too, but you're making a really convincing point.
I mean, he's super smart. And he can take a lot of pain. And he's good with the gun because he can take it off his back and shoot you in the eyes from 20 feet away.
I'm not sure that he's like super smart, like 150.
Street smart.
I think he's probably more of your average intelligence, but I think he's good at picking things up as he goes and remembering them.
Well, remember, so let's say first movie,
and figuring things out. I think he's a good puzzle guy.
Yeah, so first movie. What happens to me and you if we're up there scrunching our toes and we hear all that stuff downstairs?
I'm fucking some people up, buddy.
Well, I mean,
that's us.
I know.
We've been through some shit.
But we saw the movie.
We could. No. Take the movie out of it. Take the movie out of it.
You think so?
The two of us, we've both been beaten. We've both been through some. I've been through some fucking fights in my life. I think you probably have too.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, sir.
I've never been in a gunfight.
No, I've been shot at, but never.
I've been shot at as well myself.
Yeah.
I've not been in the military shot at, but I've been shot at.
I was never shot at in the military.
Well, our YouTube, anybody watching this is YouTube is like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
I know, seriously.
This is the country, man.
We get off on these tangents because they have to do with the root of the character we're trying to talk about.
But, yeah, I don't think I could survive like McClane did.
No way.
But I would survive that first wave.
I think I could survive. Yes. Okay, so I'm 1,000% with you. I think I'm spatially aware enough to hide for a while. I know I'm not good enough to
I'm killing the first couple of people.
I could never kill the guy and then write ho 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 on him and send him down the
No, I could do that.
See, I don't think I could.
I 100% think I could do it.
I think I'm trying to get out of that.
As long as I have a knife.
My ex-wife is in there. Oh, I don't care. I'm getting out of there and I'm calling the FBI and they can deal with it.
If I have a knife and
even with the gun, I'm trying to get out of
it. I'm barefoot. I'm barefoot. I'm in a tank top and dress pants.
Am I going to kill anybody in the way of me escaping? Yeah. Yes, I believe I could do that. But I think I'm getting out of there and letting the authorities just deal with it.
That would be my main goal. But
now put me in the jungle.
No, I'm dying right away.
I'm not saying. See, I'm
dying right away in the jungle
because of the scouts and everything. I think I'm one of the last. I'm dying, no doubt about it. I just feel like I'm going to be one of the last.
I didn't do Boy Scouts. That's where I would thrive.
I spent a massive amount in the woods between hiking the Appalachian Trail, Boy Scouts, and then just in general, when I grew up in Georgia, you disappeared into the deep woods. You formed clubs. Literally, I mean, I'm serious. What's the book? Lord of the Flies, clubs. Yeah. I mean, it was that funny comedian lady who said it. It was a constant game of Survivor. You know what I mean? Like amongst your friends, social and physical. Yeah. I happen to be bigger, so I always had a place. So,
I can. All right.
I'm just being
I don't
honest.
know, man. I really want to put McClane over Dutch because Dutch has killed a predator, beat a predator hand to hand, but his CIA stuff goes well. McClane is so crafty, though.
All right, you know what? For the first time, I mean, since we've done the Jedi stuff, we're going to put a pause on this and go to the next one because I think we're universal probably on the next one.
Okay, Ripley Rambo. I think it's got to be Rambo.
Yeah, okay, so as badass as Ripley is and as much heart as she has, Rambo is a one-man wrecking crew.
It's one-man army.
He is MacGyver, Dutch, Jean-Claude. Like, he's all those guys combined because of his training, right?
Oh, yeah, he's the man.
He set the traps.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it in every movie. He's gone hand to hand with huge people, outdid them. He is a master of all firearms.
Yes.
Now, Ripley's in the future. So, again, we're trying to limit it to as much as we can.
I still think if you put him in her position, he's doing the same thing.
I think
if you reverse him, it's not the same.
Oh, no. If Ripley went to that small town and tried to fight those guys, there's no way. If she went to Vietnam and tried to free people, there's just no way. Based on the character alone, not the actual actress or whatever. But no, she just doesn't have the training. And so I'm going, again, fictional character, realistic, trying to do as much as we can, realistic situations. She cannot. So that's a great point. Yeah. When you switch the roles, can they survive in the other person's? And I'm sorry, but Rambo's one of the best ever.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat him.
And so that's just...
We're going to go Rambo?
Yeah, we're going to go Rambo, 100%.
Right. Rambo.
So let's table McClane and Dutch.
All right, we'll do that.
And because we're at a little bit of an impasse, but we know some of these other ones.
Yeah. Matrix and Riggs. Commando versus the Lethal Weapon.
You know what? I don't want to, but I'm actually going to go Riggs.
Really?
Yes.
Riggs.
Commando, they both have Special Forces training.
They do.
They both have all of this stuff, but
okay.
Matrix has one weakness. His daughter.
He does.
Riggs has zero.
That's right.
He has nothing that you can levy against him, and he's been trained just as much. And as far as we know, we've only seen Commando, Matrix, in a more jungle situation with a little bit of city. We know for a fact that Riggs will throw you out a 15-story building and jump into a pool with you.
He will.
He's and it's the craziness.
It is the craziness.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see the look in your face. The people on
Yes. Yes.
It is the little bit of crazy that makes him like what am I trying to say here? The unknown factor, the X factor, or
you're
whatever
right.
you call it. He will do something that you're not expecting, and he can shoot you just as well. Now, in a physical, let's say, one-on-one battle, we know that Riggs is very skilled.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as strong.
Well, I don't think that matters if you think it this way. So Matrix is big, burly, strong, can carry a tree.
Prototypical.
So we know Riggs from the first one, he's cut. Muscular six-pack.
Yes.
But we see he knows martial arts in the first one, and we don't see it really again until the fourth one.
Agreed, because of Jet Li's character.
I think his martial arts versus the big, burly,
tough,
throwing the punch, carrying the tree, is taking down the burliness.
Sometimes the larger guy will fall because he's a little bit slower, right?
And I think in this instance, he's going to take him out. He's gonna sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. So I originally thought I would go Matrix, and I was kind of worried that this would be an all Schwarzenegger, Stallone ending.
Yeah.
But just based on the character and what we've seen, now this is another example where we got 4 or 5 examples of one guy's accomplishments, and we only got one movie of the other one.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's partially swinging my opinion because they really, they kind of emphasized his military training. He'd been in some rough spots and that made him a little crazy. And he will kill you without hesitation. Yes, the Three Stooges thing. Yeah. And he's been shot, beat up, whatever. He just comes back for more every single time. So based on that little tiny, let's say, blip in the world that was the Commando movie. Was it one of the best movies? Hell yeah, that was an 80's movie. It had Alyssa Milano in it. Like I said,
that's an 80's classic. I don't care what you guys say. It's an 80's action classic.
Who didn't have if you're our age and didn't have a crush on Alyssa Milano, then I question if you watch.
She's single now. If you don't think about trying to hook up with a little, say, hey, I'm single. You want to go on a date?
I'm sorry, but I watched a lot of Charmed. And the number of midriff bearing outfits that she wore. And I'm not trying to be like overtly sexist about this. She is a beautiful woman.
She is a nice woman.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what she says.
And I really enjoyed her in the series. It's not like she can't act. You know what I'm saying?
She can. She's a great actress.
And most people, we've said this on an earlier podcast, most people didn't realize she was a singer when she was younger, and she sold out the Tokyo Dome. So, or what was the Tokyo Dome like a million years ago. So she's talented on multiple levels.
It takes a lot for an American to do that.
Yes, it does.
Kiss were one of the first people to do that.
Right, and so just the fact that she had no singing.
Beatles,
it's almost like the Hoff. The Hoff had no music career here,
Hoff.
But Germans love, as what's his name used to say on Saturday Night Live, Germans love David Hasselhoff. That's just the way it is. So, in terms of the movie, you got to watch it. I mean, again, it's Alyssa Milano. Younger.
She's really young. This is like
real young.
I think this is like
right around
Who's the Boss.
Yeah, it's either pre or right at.
Because she's little. Because she's a little girl.
Movies take a while to produce back in the day because they literally cut the film.
Yeah.
So maybe the fact that she said I'm in a film with Arnold Schwarzenegger got her the role. I'm not sure how that is not a truth. As I don't know how that works out.
She's very close to my age.
Yes, she's just like our age.
Yeah, because I'm like getting ready to be 42, and I think she's like between 42 and 44.
I honestly don't know. I just had the most gigantic crush on her.
She's between our age.
And then when she was in Charmed, and again, not to be too overly
either way, she's our generation.
The number of nipply shots. Oh wow,
this is Riggs.
I'm going Riggs.
This gotta be Riggs.
I think we both agree.
I think Matrix. He is the weakest number one.
He's the He-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He looks just like He-Man. But Riggs has the intelligence quota.
All right,
and that's where I go with that. I think he survives in different situations.
You're right. I think you're right. So now we've got...
Because I can almost see Riggs surviving and saving the daughter.
Yeah.
I don't see Commando being on the street and having enough savvy to navigate that.
I think you're right.
I think he gets killed by the South Africans.
He sticks out a lot. So now we got Chuck Norris's Braddock and Kurt Russell's Jack Burton at peak.
At peak.
So we've decided that the at peak is almost unbeatable.
But you know what? Potions wear off.
And then you got Chuck Norris with his little Uzi,
who literally
coming out of the jungle pissed off.
And yes, I'm a little biased because I've seen all of Chuck Norris's films, Enter the Dragon, that whole thing with Bruce Lee, and then afterwards, like you said, with the mission. Oh my gosh!
Stumped my toe and said, "Ow!" You know who else stumped their toe and didn't say anything? Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. Oh, it's like you want to do those type of jokes? Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer.
I've heard that.
It's too bad Chuck Norris never cries.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris and Superman got in a fight once, and the loser had to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants for life.
Yeah, I just heard that Superman song from back 2000 live last night.
Yeah, really, it's awesome.
That was about what's his 5 for fighting.
Yeah, Chuck Norris pissed into the gas tank of a semi once. It became Optimus Prime.
I've not heard that one. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's great.
I have heard so many of these.
That's almost as good as the one from the Expendables about the Cobra.
Yeah. Chuck Norris can piss his name in concrete.
That's good.
When Chuck Norris does his push-ups, he actually pushes the world away from him.
That's good. That's good. What was the one in the Expendables? He got bitten by a cobra, and after...
No, that's another Chuck Norris stuff.
Yeah.
One time Chuck Norris got bitten by a rattlesnake. After an excruciating 3 days, the rattlesnake died.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, yeah, that was the one from the movie. That was great. I loved that. That was so funny in there. So what do you think?
So it's
what are your
my
thoughts?
last one. Hold on, one last one because I love this. I actually used it down in Disney for a different situation, but I took the joke from it. Chuck Norris goes killing because implying hunting means he won't kill something, so he goes killing. You can't. I'm sorry. He does not go hunting. He goes killing.
That's a better name for it anyway. Going killing.
He goes killing. So yeah, I'm sorry, Jack Burton,
I'm gonna
one of my favorite characters of all time, and
I'm
with
gonna
the
kill him.
potion, he is awesome. But I'm sorry if you watch these movies.
It's like some Vader. It's like I'm
Seriously.
going killing.
Oh, it was like what he said to Ezra. You know, I'm not afraid of you. Then you will die braver than most. There was no. It was not. Oh, you won't lose. You're just gonna lose braver than most. Vader doesn't go dueling. He goes killing.
He goes killing. That's right.
Me
and Chuck Norris could get along very well.
I'm just saying, you know, if Chuck Norris was in Vader's suit, you're just not stopping.
Yeah, that's it. It's over.
It's literally over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on this one, I love Jack Burton, and in the original, again, Conan, it was just a little bit much with the sword. You know what I mean? Even though that was in 80's, we had to put him in there.
Yeah.
But yes, when it comes down to it, this is one of the shorter ones like we talked about. I cannot see the guy from these movies losing to a trucker that had a magic potion.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just can't do it.
So you think Chuck's going to beat him out?
I think Jack Burton, the character, yes, 100%. The character from the movie is going to beat the character from the other movie.
So who you going? Name. Braddock or
sorry,
Burton?
my brain just went.
So we're going Braddock.
I that's where I'm going. If you have a dissenting opinion,
I don't actually, I'm good either way.
I just can't, because if we go magic, then he's going to win everything.
Magic summer,
You know what I mean?
summer.
Like the potion. And honestly, let's think about the movie as a whole, outside of the knife throw.
We don't have to go in any deeper on this.
Well,
actually.
what I'm saying is, like,
But I'm actually okay with going Braddock because that's who I thought. Because actually, I thought Burton probably could have lost in the first round. After we brought in all this peakness, he beat Cobra out.
Again, he has guns and he has modernism, and that's why I said in a sword fight or a physical fight, he beats him every time.
Yeah.
But let's if you got to combine the movies, you can't take guns out.
It does. You're right.
And Conan's like, I am afraid of your fire stick. You know what I mean? Or as
Braddock it is.
Back in the day, Evil
Oh
Dead.
my goodness.
This is my boomstick.
Well, let's talk about the one we skipped.
All right, let's come
back to
to
Dutch
it.
and McClane.
Yeah. All right.
I've thought about it.
All right.
I really think that you might be right. I really think it might be Dutch.
Only reason, and it's not taking away from McClane.
Yeah.
But if that dude's being hired by the CIA, he's been trained urbanly and forest, snow, jungle, whatever. That's a hard thing to take away from him.
Langley does a good job.
And again, he MacGyvered the Predator.
Yeah.
Something that can travel faster than the speed of light. You know what I'm saying? He hit him with a tree trunk like a fucking Ewok. So, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the dude is obviously smart and physically.
I really don't think smarts come into this one. I think this one's a brawn one.
Okay, well, then I hate to say it, brawn-wise, again, you're talking about the guy that was swinging around on ropes, holding onto trees with mud on him, looking at an interstellar being who can see heat signatures and still have the smarts.
The more I think about it, I think if they came into it, let's just we put the last one between McClane in a back alley.
Right.
Let's put this one in a pit. I think Dutch is running at him head first and pulling his eyes out of his sockets.
Yeah, I just don't see McClane winning. And now, granted, McClane has like you said, he has a built-in ability to.
And I think if you put him in a back alley, I think Dutch is rushing him and pulling his eyes out of his sockets.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Any which way that I think about it, Dutch
and
is killing
the
him.
training. Yes, you're a cop, and you put your life on the line. We've seen you do it 5 times. However, you didn't fight somebody that threw a nuclear bomb at you. Yeah. Or a small bomb or whatever it was.
All right, so you want to go into the 4 on A side or B side?
On final 4.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Let's go A side.
All right.
Show it to the folks
Let's do it.
Our, thank you, everybody who's watching our YouTube
videos. A, B,
and so
A side.
We have an A side
Final
and a B
4.
side. Final 4, baby.
The final 4, Dutch from Predator versus Rambo.
This one is actually, let's go B. What's the other one?
Riggs versus Braddock.
Jesus, that is a hard one, but I gotta go Braddock. Now, both of them had the same type of training.
Actually, I think that they're pretty even.
They are so even, and the only thing I'm giving Chuck the advantage is I feel like his martial arts skill, his hand-to-hand combat skill is slightly better. I think they're both great with guns. I think they're both strategic. I think they're both extremely intelligent. But I think if you just take all of that out, you could switch both guys, and I think they would fit in each other's world.
I think you're right.
Definitely Riggs is going into that other world and blasting his way out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think that Chuck his character and his demeanor is smart enough to go into the cop scene after being in the military and being able to figure. Now, I don't know if he's just smart or street smart, but I
got that he killed 54 people in his movie.
Which one, Riggs or Braddock?
Braddock.
Again, you know what I mean? But I give, so this one literally
basically a whole platoon.
It just comes down, for me, honestly, it comes down to hand-to-hand combat. Because I think they're equal in almost everything. But you're not beating Braddock in the hand-to-hand stuff.
Yeah.
Riggs is great. Oh boy, can he fight. But Jet Li's character
whipped his ass.
Yeah, he kind of beat him pretty good. And
I think both to get him.
And I think if you put the character of Braddock up against Jet Li's character, Braddock ties him at least. If not, breaks some things. Because you're talking about a guy that knows martial arts and is a gangster versus a guy that knows martial arts and is a Green Beret.
Yeah.
Constantly fighting.
I don't know, man. A triad versus a Green Beret. That's pretty. That's a damn good
triads fight. Weekly. Green Berets train daily. I'm sorry, and they're not. That's a no hold bars type thing. They're constantly learning how to defend themselves.
Well, triads fight no hold bars.
But I don't think triads get up every day at 4 to do PT.
Well, they don't. You're right.
I don't think triads get up and go through.
No, they're more. They're a better version of the American Mafia
or the Yakuza. You know what I mean? Like, are they bad? Yes. You do not want to mess with them. Like, they will destroy your whole entire life. Yeah. However, take an individual. They're stronger as a group, almost like the Axe Gang.
Yeah.
They're stronger as a group. That dude, one man walking army. That is just my opinion, but I'm obviously biased with the military leaning. However, just from the movies alone, man, Braddock's a bad dude. He is. I mean, before he got Texas Walker, which was on for how many years?
Long time. Now Padalecki's got it.
Oh! Hey, don't get me wrong. It's supernatural. I don't care. Jensen Ackles or
Padalecki's
Jared Padalecki.
He's a poor man's Walker.
He is, and I don't want to say that because I love Jared with every bit of my heart, and he was so good in the Jason movie, the Friday 13th remake.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
But there's something about him that's a little too Gilmore. If you remember the reference,
yeah, I love that show. Come on.
He's a little too Gilmore to pull off Chuck's former, it's a
I don't
Texas
think you're a fan
Ranger.
of that show like I am, but
a Texas Ranger.
Yes.
Those dudes are.
Texas Rangers don't show up on Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going with it. I'm just being honest. And so, I'm sorry.
You're
have
right.
to go.
I think more.
Now this is one of the tighter ones. Don't get me wrong.
It's real tight. I mean,
they are almost the same character, except one's urban and one's jungle.
It comes down to the physical hand-to-hand,
Yes.
and I do believe that he's a black belt versus he might not be as much of a degree of the black belt.
I don't think Chuck's coming at it without like a broken something or a black eye or something. I think it's one of those battles where it's literally they're so tired that it just takes that last blow.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're that close in my mind. Again,
could be one of those roadhouse rip at your throat moves.
Seriously. So that's where I'm going to go with it, based solely on the fact that I think they're so similar in some of the other aspects. And I think they're both proficient in all of those aspects. If you come back down to the hand-to-hand, not Chuck Norris, I'm talking about the character of. Mm-hmm. He still showed those same skill sets, and they were superior to what I saw Riggs show in his movies, even over 5 movies.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going.
I think you're right. I did not expect this.
I didn't either. But, as we're talking about it and we're kind of going around it logically.
Yeah.
And then talking about the merits, again, we're trying to do it as best we can, like the Jedi Council. You have to sometimes take your opinion out of it. Like, I didn't want to put Anakin on there, but you made enough logical points about him being like, he's Vader, dude, he's that strong. Yes, when he was Anakin, you need that strength on the Council. So that changed my mind, right? So I just logically, I'm thinking to myself, okay. I mean, they're so similar, but let's take this one instance. And I think Braddock wins.
Yeah.
So now let's go back to the other one like we did
We're back
before.
on A side now.
Down
to Dutch Rambo. I know where I'm going.
Okay, well,
how
about this? You start this time, because I am totally undecided.
We're Dutch Rambo, and I'm going Rambo. I do not see a scenario where Rambo allows himself to lose. Rambo has never allowed himself to lose.
Agreed.
He has lost a battle, but he has never allowed himself to lose a war one-on-one.
He's been
lost
tortured.
A war when he's been a soldier via the Vietnam War, but he has never lost a war when it's been him versus another human. He is a one-man army.
So I was going to go Dutch. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Yeah. But you changed my mind. And the one thing that you said, Dutch did face a predator. He's super smart. We never saw Dutch get tortured and never mentally break.
Yeah.
I mean, like Rambo's in the poo pit, like up to almost his nostrils, and he's not breaking. He's on the bed full of electricity. He's not breaking. If you go from the first movie, he's holed up in some store, you know what I'm saying, and using whatever he can find to create bombs. And
I know, that was amazing.
And hunting rifles. I mean, these other guys have machine guns of some kind or whatever, automatic pistols. He found a hunting
rifle. He's in the forest.
Yeah.
He's pulling down trees and dropping in branches and tying them
he fell off a waterfall.
With
vines. Actually, they got that in common. Both Dutch and him fell off a waterfall. Like, they had to fall into the water. Because remember, that's what dragged them into mud.
More similar to First Blood. And
I
think Commando is more similar to
the
First Blood Part 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. Given the environment and given the weapons used. You know what? I thought I was going to go Dutch this whole entire time. But I got to go Rambo, dude.
Yeah.
I do. Because, again, given the filmography, he consistently proves that he can adapt to any situation. We have only seen Dutch. And this really is the key point. We only got to see him once. If you give me 4 or 5 movies and he's adapting to different things and killing lots of different people, but Dutch always has a team.
Yeah.
Like Rambo was a dude walking down the street.
We've seen Rambo in a small town in Seattle. We've seen Rambo in Vietnam. We've seen Rambo in Afghanistan. We've seen him in what the hell was Rambo? It was
That's the one I couldn't watch. Remember we talked about it on the other thing where they were pitchforking kids.
Damn, wherever that was, and then he was in Mexico and New Mexico or Arizona.
That's an underrated. That is a highly underappreciated movie.
I love this last.
The last one was highly underappreciated. It kind of went back to its roots a little bit.
There's a theatrical version and then a non-rated. Version,
like a red band trailer,
which I really liked that one because it's got like a whole 15 minutes that's not shown in the original version.
Agreed.
At the beginning, where he's like out in this humongous rainstorm on horseback,
right,
hunting like people that are drowning and dying. It's amazing.
Yeah, I hate to say it, and I'm a huge Stallone fan, and I'm a huge Schwarzenegger fan. I probably enjoy Schwarzenegger movies a little bit better. But with the Expendables, those are just popcorn Saturdays to me. I can watch all 4 of them right now.
I cannot wait for that next one to come out. We're going to go see that, and we're going to do an episode on that.
We will do a full episode on that. So that character, we'll put him in later, but that character's badass as well. Yeah. With having Jet Li, freaking Terry Crews, Jason Statham. Like all these different again, he brought back his rival from Rambo, and Lundgren. It's just, man, that fight between him and Jean-Claude, that was really cool. I mean, because Jean-Claude was whooping him most of the time.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But again, it's different character, but the will to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Dutch is 99, but I have to give Rambo 100. If I had to write them for will to survive, given what I've seen in movies, Rambo's will to survive and will to accomplish a mission is 100 every time. Yeah. Dutch maybe 99 because he took pity on the girl. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't, she can translate. Oh, we need her to... So she can tell us about the alien that's about to kill us all.
Exactly.
So if I had to find a flaw, Rambo did his thing even though he was in love with the girl.
Yeah.
So, and then she died, and then he went on a massive killing spree.
Yeah, it pissed him off real good.
Again, when someone's shooting an AK-47, you typically don't Hawkeye them. You know what I mean? So you convinced me. I'm switching over. I'm going Rambo as well. Yes, sir.
All right.
So now we are literally left with 2 of the most iconic 80's action figures.
Yeah.
Minus, Schwarzenegger. I mean, he made it up there too. He made it to the almost.
So we had Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Oh, we had a bunch of them.
Norris and
Schwarzenegger made it more.
Who played Riggs?
Oh gosh, if you hadn't asked me,
Gibson. Yeah, so we had
Russell.
Those were the guys that we had in the Final 4, though.
Russell had 2.
Yeah. So look at that. I mean, that was a pretty good Final 4. So now we're down to Rambo and Braddock.
This is going to be extremely difficult for me.
Really?
I feel like they show off the same skill set.
Okay.
And so there's a part of me that thinks Braddock wins the fist fight, but there's a part of me that thinks Rambo wins any other type of fight, like a knife fight.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody beats Rambo in a knife fight.
But they both are jungle proficient, obviously. Yeah. They're both proficient in all the different weapons.
And we've seen, like I said, Rambo in every single type of environment. Well, there was
more than one Braddock movie. You know what I'm saying?
There was like 3 MIAs.
Yeah, 3 MIAs. So it's like they've been put in different situations.
Yeah. I mean, how many times can you go missing in action?
But however, I don't remember them as well as I used to. I just don't remember Braddock suffering as much. Does that make sense?
Suffering leads to hate. Hate leads to the dark side.
So,
Rambo.
Are we still talking Sith side?
Rambo's gone into the dark side. Rambo will always.
Oh, Rambo. You can just go ahead and screw Mallet. Like Rambo's killing him if he has a lightsaber. Yeah, I don't care. Force or no force. Yeah. Like he's just got the. I mean. But again, we're talking about 2 guys that made the last Mortal Kombat video game.
They did.
Because they've got such an eye, and they both voiced them, which was super awesome. However, I'm going to be honest, Rambo was a little bit more cool.
I did enjoy playing Rambo more than Terminator.
I did too, a lot more. Not just a little, but a lot more. Because his intros were so much better.
And his lines were better
Lines
too.
were just so much better.
Yeah, he had a different line for every character.
Yes, he did. A different way of saying, like, and it wasn't always "I'm going to kill you." It was like, okay, let's see you try.
I've had enough of you.
Or something like that.
It's like I've seen your kind before.
You know what? Initial reaction, just initial. I'm going Rambo.
That's what I thought too, and that's what I continue to think, because not only because of his movies, but now that we've brought in Mortal Kombat, which is also canon.
Yeah, like it. Yeah,
he's seen some shit.
Okay,
Braddock,
so we didn't get
Braddock
as much.
has 3 movies, and what has he killed? A bunch of Vietnamese?
I think so. Yeah. I don't remember him as well. That's the thing. And so part of me is also thinking about, like, I know it's fictional and we're not supposed to think about it, but just cultural impact.
Yeah.
Rambo had a knife that was so cool that every kid in Georgia had one.
I think every kid in the Southeast had one.
Probably. I don't remember Braddock having anything other than the double Uzis and stuff.
The Uzi, and I don't think anybody that was not a rock star didn't have one.
Yeah, there was a lot of Uzis. I mean, they even had them on freaking Miami Vice.
They did, and I think if you had one, you had to have a lot of money.
They were super expensive.
Yeah.
The
not
clips,
so much now, but not every
yeah,
state allows you to have one.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't have an automatic thing unless you just pull the.
In certain states, you can have them.
I will
but
not
every
say how to
state.
change a gun.
Well, yeah, we know how.
We're not
but
gonna.
Certain states allow you to have those. Like Detroit,
with
Michigan, you can have them.
But with certain permits.
Yeah, but North Carolina, you cannot.
It's like buying a 50 cal. You know what I mean? Like.
I think you can own them in Texas.
I would be shocked, if you couldn't do that in Texas.
I don't think you can do it in Florida, but you can do everything else in Florida just about. With a gun.
We both just came from Florida, and I don't know if there's any laws there whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the Wild West, man.
I'm pretty sure that it is last man standing in Florida.
Yeah.
And I think they just know, with the ice caps melting, they've got limited time before they go back under the water.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that they know that. I think that they deny.
Well, it's sort of like California breaking off.
I feel bad for California because I think they know it.
Well, the only thing about California that bothers me is they seem so holier than thou, and yet they have more homeless people than any other state.
So everybody's leaving. They're all going to fucking Texas.
Yeah. So we
it's
don't.
A little matter of time for Texas goes blue.
And this is not a political statement in the slightest. This is literally just stating facts.
It is a fact.
Ben and Carthy do not ever express political leanings, religious leanings, or anything of the such. Leave
on
us,
the podcast.
On the podcast. Yeah. Now, with us sitting here drinking a beer, we're going to talk our butts off.
Yeah.
But as far as the podcast goes, so I was talking. I know this is. I mean, we're getting to the final, and we've been running long. But you know what? In that documentary about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
If you'll remember, they wanted him to endorse the Republican or the Democratic candidate in Chicago.
Yes.
And I don't know which one it was. I can't remember.
I think it was the Democrat because he said
Republicans buy tennis shoes too. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but the people above us that actually control everything, they don't see black, white, or purple or whatever. They see one color, green.
Yeah.
So I know that was off subject. Because that's what Ben and I do. We get off subject sometimes because we've been talking for literally almost 20 years. So yeah, I don't gut punch. I got to go Rambo because of the different scenarios he was put into and had to get out of. Now Braddock fought his way through a bunch of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but Rambo got caught. Now does that mean
he did?
But does that mean he's not as good as Braddock? Because Braddock never. You see what I'm saying? However, I think if I've got to go with 2 guys, just like before, if you put me with 2 guys, like Braddock and Riggs or whatever, where they have similar backgrounds, and I've got to go with one fighting point, I'm going to go with Rambo solely based on the fact that I feel like put up against the wall, that's the dude that wins.
I still think even if you put them both either in the pit, the Mortal Kombat arena, you put them in an alley, I still think Rambo's coming out on top. I don't care that Chuck Norris is doing the spin kick. I think Rambo's finding a way. I think...
Yeah, see, I'm different on that.
I think Rambo's chewing that Achilles out. I think he's ripping out his...
I see your point.
His brachial artery with his
like
teeth.
Braddock's a little bit of a cleaner fighter, where Rambo
think
is doing...
fighting out this brachial. Right. I think he's chewing his throat.
Rambo's going to do what it takes to win.
He's fish hooking him.
Right.
Ripping out the eye.
Yes.
Rambo's doing the shit.
You don't have to agree with you on that.
Over.
He, like we talked about with McClane in the first round.
Yeah.
He's going to fight dirty.
Rambo is going to fight to win.
All the time. And yeah, that's a great point.
You know why?
That's a brilliant
These
point.
colors don't run.
Yeah.
America!
That teacher later asked me how many crayons I needed. I said, I need red, white, and blue, lady.
Damn right. You know why? 4th of July, America!
America! Yes. So that's actually a brilliant point. I think Rambo does what it takes, like you said, chewing on the balls, whatever. He's going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Just like Chuck, I think. Okay, it's not Chuck, but Braddock. I think if it was MMA fight, he wins because there's limitations.
Yeah, there's a referee.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally
there's
understand.
limitations, and I think he's a better fighter.
Yeah.
But in terms of who's a better survivor,
yes.
Did I say it right?
Totally.
I think Rambo's the ultimate. Out of everyone we've talked about, I feel like Rambo's has proven. Like, just again, through our fictional media, I think Rambo's been proven, again, with the torture, the having to hide in caves, having to hide in ice-cold conditions and all this other things, he finds a way to survive.
Well, as I didn't say earlier, he does have over 322 total kills through his films.
He survives. Yeah, man, I gotta totally give it up to you. I'm 100% with you. I think our champion is John Rambo.
Rambo it is.
Because we've seen him again, not to lessen Braddock, but so
Rambo.
Those of you at home watching on YouTube, you can see our scale there, but Rambo's been shown in so many different environments, right?
Yes, he has.
He's been shown to be able to prevail under a lot more, let's say, turmoil. Yes. That's where I've got to go. I don't have a choice, but I've got to go.
That's right.
So, man, that was an interesting battle we had there.
It was.
Ran a little bit over, but by now our listeners are probably used to us saying this will be a certain amount of time, and us just going down rabbit holes when we do it anyway. So, everybody, as we always do, we want to thank you for listening to us ramble on about things 80 and different scenarios that will never come true. And every like, every share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter will be coming. I promise. I know they say that I'm just letting things calm down because it's just a mess.
Is it still 80's Kids, or did you get changed to Going Commando yet?
I have not changed yet, so it's still 80's Kids. However, most of that universe is about
there's some weird stuff going on Twitter right now, so don't look for us on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, it's a weird platform. You post things to the Chinese one. TikTok. So we have TikTok even. And so every time you watch a video, every time you like one, every time you comment, we really do appreciate it. We like to remind everybody we're not monetized. This is two dudes who worked in a hospital in the worst conditions that needed to have a respite. And our respite was to hang out during lunch and talk this type of stuff. And so Ben had the brilliant idea, well, if we're going to talk about it, why don't we record it? So I said, heck yeah. And so we appreciate everything. Again, if you could, hit that follow button if you can, because again, it allows us to produce more media and things like that. Ben is obviously the brains. I'm just the rambler that talks a lot. So as always, thank you. And again, as always, Ben Davis. Pega's out.
And you can follow us on all the media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Remember our link tree. Link tree is the easiest way to find it.
Yep, and we're on Linktree. I have not updated our platform links yet. I need to do that. Thank you for reminding me just now.
But our, our podcast, Spotify, Apple, whatever. You just look us up, and we have an extensive category after 3 years.
We do. We've been in it for 3 years now.
Just remember, our first ones are more music-based.
They're all music-based.
Yeah. But we have an extensive catalog now.
We have 13 episodes, all 80s.
Yes.
All 80s media.
Yes.
So, it is Going Commando with the 80s kids. That is what you can find. It is real simple now.
It's real simple now. Before, there was a lot of 80s stuff. You put in Going Commando, it's us. It's sort of like putting in White House not .org or .gov, but .com. Yeah. You can't miss us unless it's a weird porn site or something like that.
So, until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. This has been Davis and Carthy.